time to take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Magnus Carlsen introduces Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Move Trainer uses the science of spaced repetition to identify your strengths and eliminate your weaknesses. There's no need to set up a board, remember which page you're on, or keep track of all the moves you miss. Move Trainer empowers you to go from the opening to the end game with confidence. It's a seamless, effective, and fun way to study chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessable courses, including over 100 free courses. Get expert insights from International Master John Bartholomew, Grandmaster Sam Shankland, International Master Christoph Sulecki, Grandmaster Simon Williams, World Champion Magnus Carlsen, and hundreds of other instructors. Get started now and join our growing community of over 100,000 chess enthusiasts at chessable.com. Chessable, take control of your journey towards chess mastery.
Hello everybody and a very warm welcome to day 2. Still round 1, but day 2 of the Magnus Carlsen Invitational. The online super tournament bringing together 8 of the best chess players in the world, competing for a prize fund of 250,000. Is it dollars or euros? Lawrence Trent, do you know these things?
I do.
Right?
It's dollars. It's dollars. Whatever it is, it's the biggest prize fund ever reached or produced for an online tournament for sure. And as you guys who joined us yesterday will know, these guys are taking this very, very serious. It's a lot of money, a lot of pride at stake in these very strange times. And it's an absolute pleasure to be here, obviously, and watch these great chess players battle it out for the Magnus Carlsen Invitational. Is it in honor of Magnus? Was it his idea? Yeah, and maybe you've got the scoop on this, actually. Did he just wake up one day and say, hey, you know?
What I heard is that he felt he was not being honored and praised enough. So he said, what I really need to cement my legacy is a tournament with my name on it, and not like the kind of memoriam thing that people get later. He wants to play in his own tournament. That's why this Magnus Carlsen Invitation was created. Now, Lawrence,
yes,
this tournament has drawn a lot of attention, and we might have some viewers that, first of all, are not your regular chess crowd, and secondly, they might not know who we are, which would be shocking, but maybe we should introduce ourselves. My name is Jan Gustafsson. I am a former hand model, because I can do this, but I'm also a German chess grandmaster, and I've mainly been doing commentary, working on this beautiful site, chess24.com, over the last couple games. I am joined by international master, the new voice of chess, the man who has defeated many an illness. Lawrence Trent is with us today. Lawrence, how are you?
Thank you. Still battling a few as well, I might add. So the war is long. It's an absolute delight to be here, obviously. I'm doing very well, excited about today. Yesterday, we had all kinds of dramatic turns and twists, and I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing some more drama today. It's going to be a very interesting day, some very interesting pairings, which we'll get to.
The format of this tournament is every day we get 2 matches. 2 of the world's best players are clashing with one another, and not in what we call classical chess, where every player has roughly 3 hours per game to decide on his moves, but they are playing 4 rapid games. They have 15 minutes plus 10 seconds per move. So the pace is pretty fast. One game lasts around 35-40 minutes. Therefore, it's an action-packed form of chess. And today we have 2 matches. One featuring Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, the current co-leader of the candidates tournament, the tournament that was aborted halfway, or postponed, I should say, halfway, trying to find Magnus's next challenger. He is facing, who I like to think of, the people's champ, Giri, who has the worst odds in this tournament because he's not known as a rapid specialist, but Anish is always entertaining, always well prepared, always well dressed. So I'm very much looking forward to that match. And Anish is also, he's good Magnus bait. So Magnus Carlsen, the world champion, he might join us just to sweat that match. I would not be one bit surprised if he showed up to troll Anish. What's the other match?
Well, the other match is between certainly somebody I know very well, having worked with him for a number of years, very good friend of mine, and somebody I respect dearly, and the man who nearly took the crown away from Magnus in 2018. That's Grandmaster Fabiano Caruana. Fabi, world number 2, also not really regarded as a rapid specialist. So if you were to look at the pre-match odds or the pre-tournament odds for this event, Fabi and Anish are actually extremely long and aren't favorites to win this. But never underestimate, especially Fabiano. He's a exceedingly strong player, and I think he's always been underrated in this format. Even though his results perhaps over the years haven't shown that, I always felt like there's absolutely no reason why he couldn't just go on a tear up. We've seen him.
So you feel his bad results have led to him being underrated?
No, I believe that I believe he's always just underestimated in some way in these.
The problem he has in these rapid things, he doesn't always take them serious. If he starts well, he can do extremely well, but he loses a game or two and he sort of loses interest and he's thinking, you know what, I want to be classical world champion. This is just a cute little rapid tournament. I'll lose a bunch more games.
Of course, the ultimate goal for Fabi is to be classical world champion, but this is a very special tournament. I mean, this is the first of its kind. All the best guys are pretty much there, and there's a lot of bragging rights. And I think that Fabi, is taking this actually quite seriously, perhaps surprisingly so. And today he's playing Jan Nepomniachtchi. Now, Jan, for many people who follow chess, will know is an extremely charismatic, very interesting guy who wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's got about as good a poker face when it comes to chess as Hikaru Nakamura. You know when he's uncomfortable. You know when he's made a mistake. He's very entertaining to watch. And he's also very entertaining to watch as a chess player because his chess is very, very dynamic, very interesting. He's always fighting hard. Always coming up with very interesting ideas. And this is a real clash of styles today. Nepomniachtchi against Caruana. It's going to be very interesting to see. Now, as you saw on the graphic just there, it's actually giving Fabiano as a slight favorite today, according to the fantasy.
I think these graphics, someone correct me if you know this stuff, but if they're based on the fantasy,
yes,
I think we can't trust the statistics because there you don't get even money. You get more points, quote unquote money. You get more points for like choosing Caruana than you get for Nepomniachtchi. So I don't think those are very representative.
If you went to the bookmaker, you would see that Nepomniachtchi is the big favorite today in this match. According to the fantasy, though, because you get more points for Fabiano winning, if he does win, it says that he's a slight favorite. Nevertheless, this is a big test for Fabi. Jan is extremely good. He's extremely fast as well, let's be honest. He's one of the fastest players in the elite circles, which has been for and against his performances in some tournaments. I mean, especially in the candidates recently, we've seen some instances of him playing too fast and perhaps ruining some chances. But in this event, I think playing fast is actually going to be beneficial to him. In the other match, really interesting as well, we can see there on the graphics that really people don't think that Anish has even got a serious chance today. 18.7% only, according to the fantasy predictions. He'll also be extremely long in the bookmaker odds, which I'm going to get up for everybody.
People don't trust my man Anish. It's a bit upsetting. He played some test matches preparing for this event where he lost to his compatriot Jordan van Voorhees. He lost 3-1. Maybe that has been used as evidence against him. But at least he played some test matches. He's taking this serious. He practiced with the format. We've seen yesterday, in Magnus Carlsen's case, even the world champion, to my taste, he was playing much too quickly in his match. The players there are used to playing classical chess or over-the-board rapid chess, but they don't usually play rapid online. And I feel many still have not quite figured out how to balance their time usage.
Yeah, actually, I think yesterday was a really great example. Peter Svidler, the great Russian champion, and one of my...
That is his official title, the Great Russian Champion.
The Great Russian
Peter
Champion.
Svidler will join us in a minute to comment on these games. The 8-time Great Russian Champion, the Super Grandmaster. There's so much chess expertise around these days.
It's amazing. Right? But Peter and I were talking about this yesterday, and I felt like Magnus really suffered from this, that over the board, I feel as though there's a level of focus that you don't quite get when playing online. You can be a bit lazy. There were certain moments, especially in that fourth game against Hikaru, where Magnus fell for this bishop takes e8 trick. He would just never fall for that over the board, in my opinion. I mean, that was just a case of misuse of time, laziness, lacking focus. And it's going to be interesting to see how this group of players adapts and whether they took note of that, because I think that's quite an important factor in all of these matches. And just to clarify the odds for today, it seems as though that Fabi is also, yeah, he's an underdog. I've just got the individual matches here. I don't have the overall, the outrights here. In any case, I don't have all the. Unfortunately, I just have the individual per game odds here. I don't have the overall match odds. So, but yeah, Fabi the big dog, Anish a dog as well. So,
but you know what they say? It's not about the size of the dog in the fight. It's about the size of the fight in the dog.
Indeed. Indeed it is.
Anish will have a lot of fight in him because it's a bit of a clash of styles today. Anish versus MVL. Anish is supposed to be the bookish student of the game, knows everything about the opening, very classically trained. While MVL, you know, is the French bon vivant, the attacking master, the tactical champion, not quite as booked up because, you know, he likes eating his baguette. He's studied mathematics. I take back the baguette thing. He likes his... Shout out to my friend Laurent Fressinet. He likes his saucisson. That's what MVL really likes. And he's not considered to be as booked up as Anish, but he's considered to be a sharper rapid player, and therefore a big favorite today.
Indeed. And before we welcome Peter, and obviously we've got about 15 minutes until the game starts, I guess we should talk about the wonderful promotions we also have running for Chess24. We've got a bunch throughout the entire tournament, but today's special promotion, and that's for today, is that you can get 40% off Chessable.com's latest opening course by the one and only Grandmaster Sam Shankland, 2018 US champion, one of the top theoreticians in the world, and you'd be nuts. His repertoire is on the Semi-Slav, which is making a little bit of a comeback. We're seeing some interesting top-level games with the Semi-Slav, some computer games as well. You want to get this. There's over 12 hours of video, and you're able to drill the lines and learn them properly with Chessables, learning format and move trainer technology. So make sure you go to chessable.com/Sam to learn more about that. 40% off, and that is for today. And remember, that's not the only deal throughout the entire tournament. Chess24 is offering 40% off a premium membership at Chess24 with the code Stay at Home. What do you get? Hundreds of hours of videos, training videos by the likes of Peter Svidler, Jan Gustafsson, Artur Yusupov, Magnus Carlsen, even a few things by me, hundreds of hours in lots of different languages. And you also get the opportunity to participate in some of the interactive shows that we have. For example, the Banter Blitzes, where you get a chance to play Blitz live in front of thousands of people, and you get the chance to embarrass the likes of Magnus Carlsen. Anish Giri will be doing a Banter Blitz, I believe, tomorrow, Jan. If you want to play these guys, you have to be a premium member. And on top of all of that, we have got a fantasy contest running throughout the entire tournament, where you have daily fantasy contests and the tournament fantasy contest. If you become premium, the chance of you winning a better prize is greater. For example, the first prize for the tournament fantasy contest is an Apple Watch Series 5. Jan Gustafsson, even though he is very much the most stylish grandmaster you're likely to meet in Hamburg. There we go. He's putting on the sunglasses. He's up to date with everything normally. He has the Apple Watch 4. He doesn't even have the Apple Watch Series 5. So you can actually win that if you are premium. If you're not premium, you don't get a chance. I beg your pardon. If you're premium, you get additional stuff. You can still win the Apple Watch Series 5. You can see there on the graphic that you can also win more chessable courses and indeed a lesson with a grandmaster over 2,600 on chess24.com. So tons of stuff, tons of benefits to becoming premium. Make sure you do that.
But can we also play against you? Like all these grandmasters, they sound so strong.
Yeah,
You should do some banter blisters too.
I'm going to be doing plenty in the very near future. Looking forward to it. It's always good fun playing against the chess fans on Chess24. It's always banterful and very friendly banter, and it's very, very nice. So yeah, make sure you do all of that. Everybody watching now. Yeah.
Is that all there is? Are you finished? Yeah. Like, what else is there to talk about? Magnus Carlsen yesterday.
Yeah, let's talk about yesterday.
2-2 against Hikaru Nakamura. Match went to the Armageddon. There was some controversy during the Armageddon, as usual with these types of first-time tournaments. There was also some teething problems, but Magnus eventually came through in the Armageddon. That means that he wins the match with a 2-1 score, because the scoring system, this was a bit confusing to me because I'm slow, is if you win the match regularly in the 4 rapid games that they play first, so you score 2.5 or more points there, then you get 3 points. If you win the match in the Armageddon, you get 2 points and your opponent gets 1 point. While if you lose the match in the regular rapid games, you get 0 points. Isn't that confusing, Lawrence? It's very confusing.
Not really. It's only confusing if you Well, let's not go there.
I can count till 3, but adding the 0 in really makes things weird for me.
No, it's pretty easy. You can see there on the graphic how it all works. So you really want to win the match in regular time. You'll get more points, and as we can see there, Ding out in front. I think we saw a very unusual Magnus Carlsen yesterday. A lot of people who follow chess or perhaps just getting into chess are kind of used to Magnus just being very reliable and converting easily. And yesterday was a real up and down yo-yo performance by Magnus. He played nicely in a few of the games, and he played absolutely horrifically in the other games. And he'll be the first to admit that. Whether it was finding it difficult to readjust to this format, whether he was tired, there were all kinds of factors. If he does come on the air, which I'm hoping he does during this round, it would be great to hear his thoughts on his performance in the first round. But he does come out with a win. He's still got plenty of games to go. And, with Magnus, he's very competitive, and he won't want to play as poorly as he did in some of those games again. And in the other match, Ali Reza, Ding really overpowered him. I was thinking about...
Who's Ali Reza? The most hyped man in chess, maybe? I've read around 20 articles in the mainstream media.
Yes.
As we call it, in the niche media, that have had headlines like, teenager defeats chess grandmaster Magnus Carlsen for $14,000, something along those lines. So what can you tell us about this teenager?
Well, I've been following his progress for years now, and he is effectively the hottest thing we've seen in chess since probably Magnus Carlsen himself. Only 16 years of age, and from Iran, where they've got a buzzing chess community. They've got a group of extremely talented young players. Ali Reza seems to be at the top of that pile at the moment.
We should mention Ali Reza no longer resides in Iran. He lives in France with his father. He also no longer represents Iran. He is playing under the FIDE flag.
He is.
FIDE is the Fédération Internationale d'Échecs, the chess governing body.
Indeed. And he really has got one of the sharpest eyes in the game. If you watch him play, his calculation ability, the way he navigates through very tricky tactical positions is really second to none. His talent, his raw talent, is unquestionable. The big question, of course, is whether, I mean, he's got all the things you need to be the greatest. The question is, can he actually find his way to the top? He's only 16. It's going to be an interesting few years watching this.
Also, how does he deal with the hype? Now all of a sudden
Yes.
he gets all this attention after he won that Banter Blitz match against Magnus Carlsen. And we know from cases like yourself or Macaulay Culkin what all that level of attention can do to a teenage prodigy, no? Like, it's going to be weird.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I feel as though he's got some things under control thus far. I don't think he's letting the fame or get to him, and I think he's being very modest. And
it's only been 5 days. Like, give him some time to let the fame get to him.
Yeah, but you know, he's been on the radar for some time now, and obviously just beating Magnus in this match was a huge deal. But you know, if he gets the right people around him, gets the right team, looks like he's got a lovely family. But if he gets the right team around him as he ascends to the top 10 and tries to establish himself there, and then try and make the next jump, you know, I feel like he could do it. If there's anybody that's going to do it, it feels like it could be Ali Reza.
Ali Reza, if you need a manager who's experienced with top level, pushing guys to this World Championship level, Lawrence Trent will take your call. Speaking of take your call, let's bring in someone who is an expert at not only the group's product, but also at, you know, winning chess games. A man who at the ripe age of, I don't know how old he is, like 44, 43 probably, he'll be upset already, has just won the Pepe and Dibi's Invitational, Super Grandmaster, 8 times Russian chess champion, expert at apologizing. Peter Svidler is with us. Peter, how are you today?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing fine. I mean, as well as can be expected under current circumstances, and very excited to watch today's games. These are very interesting pairings, I feel, and there will be obviously a lot of days like this. But this is a full candidates lineup, which adds maybe some additional spice to these contests.
What do you mean by full candidates lineup?
Yeah, and one of the results of the current health crisis the world is experiencing is many things are put on hold, and one of the things which is currently on hold is the tournament, which will eventually, even when it finishes, determine who plays Magnus Carlsen for the world title. And the four players we see battle it out today are all in that tournament.
2 of them are even leading it, no? And
exactly,
the third one was the main favorite going in, Fabiano Caruana, the big favorite on 50%. And Monsieur MVL, as we call the Frenchman, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, and Jan Nepomniachtchi from Russia are the co-leaders.
And obviously, this is the whole different tournament. The format is completely different, and this is not classical chess, whereas candidates quite clearly is. There should still be some additional pressure on those games. Once again, I'm not sure. You will have to ask the players if they would confirm or deny this narrative, but I have a feeling it's slightly more relevant when they play each other.
Yeah, hard to say. We will ask them. We will talk to the players, or at least the winners, after these matches are over. Usually, judging from yesterday, I believe the show, once it starts in a couple minutes, will last around like 3.5 hours, depending if we get an Armageddon or not. Who do you guys have? What are your predictions?
Well, I was going to ask Peter that because you know, he's these guys' colleagues and has played in tournaments of a similar time control, probably faced all of these guys at 15 minutes. Who have you got today, Peter?
Well, I think on paper, considering their records at specifically the shorter time controls, Jan and MVL should start as clear favorites. But I think Anish clearly has improved a great deal in shorter time controls, or perhaps he was just.
When was that? When was that?
I think he's done reasonably well in Moscow in both the Rapid and the Blitz. I felt like he was, and in St. Petersburg he was in the fight for top places. So in my eyes, I don't know if improved is exactly correct. I think he started paying more attention to games with this time control. I suspect he was never really bad. He just chose not to play very many. And now he is playing them. I think it's quite clear he is better than people give him credit for. And Fabiano is, once again, I think it's more a testament to how good he is at classical time controls that people think that he is not a good Rapid and Blitz player. But still, I think both Jan and MVL are not favorites for nothing.
So you're saying none of these guys are horrible chess players, but MVL and Nepomniachtchi will win today. Hot take here. I believe Fabiano's going to do this. I think Fabi is sick of this narrative. Yeah, you're cute in classical, but you can't play Rapid, which has always been there a little bit. I have a feeling he's going to come out guns blazing. He will have all this unused candidates prep, which he was planning to keep a secret for the second half of the candidates. But today against Nepomniachtchi, who tilts many people with his man bun, with his antics, with his staring at the opponents, even online, he will get into Fabi's head, and Fabi will use all that ammo and win that match. There we see the guys up front. We see Fabiano Caruana with the curly hair. Jan Nepomniachtchi takes the tournament seriously. He has set up the man bun, and below them, Maxim Vachier-Lagrave on the left versus Anish Giri. We've also, since we got some feedback, thank you so much for the kind feedback, we have added an analysis board, I think currently next to me, if I see this correctly, which will show the current position in the game we're covering on the screen, while on the bigger board, we will be messing around making moves, and we've also changed the color of our little indicator. So for example, now I make the move 1d4, but they haven't started yet. So this is me messing around on the board. Now, this little, what do you call this? Traffic light switches from green to red. See? Now I'm switching to the other game where they haven't made a move yet. So the traffic light is green. I hope that will help keep track a bit of how to do this. Obviously, there are many different suggestions. Should we have 2 boards on screen, no boards on screen? Get rid of the commentators, which I'm in favor of. But Lawrence Trent has said, I do not have a face for radio. There's no way we get rid of that window. That is exactly what happened. So keep the feedback coming. Go easy on us. This is the first time an online tournament has ever been held with these stakes, with this money, with this field. Therefore, there will always be room for improvement. But everybody here is working on it very, very hard.
And actually on that note, I want to just give a shout out to all the people who might be watching chess for the first time, because I know we're on many different platforms. If you're joining us and you're like, oh, I was always interested in chess, we'll check this out. We're going to try and keep the commentary as universal as possible. So we won't go absolutely nuts with the analysis to a degree where it's going to be difficult for the majority to follow.
Speak for yourself.
Speak for yourself. But nevertheless, we will try and provide decent and comprehensive coverage of the games. Hopefully, if you are joining us, as I say, for the first time, you're going to really enjoy chess, and this won't be the last time you come and check us out. So stay for the action. We're going to be kicking off in, I guess, a minute or less. It's pretty much on the hour. The guys will be challenging each other now.
What I should also mention, because we often get the complaints, I can't even see all the action on the screen. You can follow all the action if we're not covering the game you want on chess24.com, on other chess websites, even though there's a Chess24 tournament. Also, there are apps. Chess24 has an app which I use to follow all live games. So if you feel like you're not getting enough info on screen, you would like to know more, computer analysis, that kind of stuff, then check those out. And we have liftoff. We have the French in Caruana versus Mr. Nepomniachtchi.
Ah, okay. Well, that's
Peter,
isn't it, Peter?
Yeah, that's very recent.
Yes,
that's both very recent and also very, very old school by Jan, because Jan used to be a French player predominantly And by a French player, I mean he was a player from Russia who used to play the French defense as main part of his repertoire. And then he started playing the Najdorf, and it looked like he would never really look back because he is a very, very competent and a very exciting Najdorf player. But specifically for the candidates tournament, which started and then stopped in Yekaterinburg some weeks ago, he is now back to playing the French, and also this specific variation of the French.
What is this madness? The position they put onto the board with both sides really not pausing at all, blitzing this out, looks like a total mess array. This starts as the so-called win hour, but then things got out of hand really, really fast around here.
Yeah, but you have to say that clearly the first game Jan played the French in the candidates was actually against Kirill Alexeyenko, who I was helping during that tournament, and it got us completely blindsided, and Kirill played something fairly nondescript, but then managed to actually get a very nice position and should have probably won that game. But from that moment on, I think the entire candidates tournament was very seriously preparing for the French from Jan. And Jan sticks to his guns, plays exactly the same line that he played in Yekaterinburg. And somebody who is as diligent at opening work as Fabi has always been throughout his career will not have been surprised by this choice.
It is a bold strategy call. And this h4, h5, it seems like everybody started doing that. In my time, this was the critical line, hitting this pawn directly. But in today's age, they just push the h pawn up the board.
I think that's mainly because there is this extremely theoretically heavy line with the sacrifice on both g7 and h7, which is supposedly, I think by current thinking, is okay for black. Although I haven't returned to this in ages and ages, I would not be able to state that definitively. But looks like black is at least a lot less worried about entering those positions than they used to. And yeah, h4 has definitely come to the fore as an alternative.
Let's look at the position they reached at breakneck speed. Queen c7, h5, offering some pawn sacrifices because you could take here and give a check. But Nepomniachtchi refused to do that, stops his h-pawn, goes h6, rook to b1, sidestepping some queen c3 check, pawn to b6, typical French move, preparing bishop a6, queen g4, and here, neither player paused at all. The mayhem begins.
Rook b1 specifically, I think, is being played there to make sure the queen takes c3 only picks up the pawn on c3 and not the rook on a1. White doesn't really need rook b1 as such, but you want not to be losing the rook here, and that's why you waste the tempo on that move.
So the white queen picks up the g7 and the h6 pawn, and black takes on d4. Now he takes on e5 with check. Caruana, without missing a beat, goes knight e2, covering that. Nepomniachtchi picks up another pawn with d takes c3, and Caruana exchanges the queens. Both of these players must have analyzed this at home, as you mentioned. Not a surprise, the opening for Fabian Caruana. He has a team, maybe the most professional team in chess, outside, of course, of the world champion, Magnus Carlsen. So many players are helping him with opening analysis, with powerful engines, and looks like he's come out. This is now an endgame. No queens. Who's better and why?
Even here, Fabi continues blitzing, and f3 is not the move maybe that would come to mind first, because seemingly the pawn on c2 is hanging. But I think f3 does a number of very important things for white. It gives the knight on c3 an additional square on e4 to sidestep the d5, d4 push. It also prepares g2, g4, which is a kind of a very nice way to connect all your pawns on the king side. It gives the white king on e1 a square on f2, which might become quite useful in the future. And I don't think the pawn on c2 is even hanging necessarily, because after rook c1 it gets quite awkward for black. And Jan quite quickly does go rook d8, not accepting the sacrifice. I don't expect Fabi to defend the pawn on c2 anyway. I think something like king f2 or g4
Why can't I run with my h-pawn? I want to queen the pawn.
Or that, yeah. But I think, once again, rook d8, one of the reasons for rook d8 specifically, I think, is the line. Let's say bishop takes c2 here. Rook c1, we go bishop h7 just to put a hard stop on that run. And without the rook on d8, there would be knight takes d5 here. But here is, yeah, exactly. The rook supports the pawn on d5 and makes that tactic unavailable for white. So I think that's at least part of the reason for the move rook d8 being played here. It's an incredibly sharp endgame. And also, once again, knowing who the white player is, I would be surprised if, honestly, Fabi has already thought more than I expected him he would. I really felt that it's extremely likely he will continue showing his opening prep for a while yet.
What's with the thinking, Fabi?
Maybe rook d8 is just
to be in deep thought, no?
Yeah, but that normally indicates that the move your opponent made is not one of Machine's top choices. But king f2, as expected, has now been played. And yeah, now the big question is whether you can afford to spend 2 moves on picking the pawn on c2 and then retreating to probably h7, although bishop b3 comes into the conversation a little bit if the rook goes to c1.
He plays f6, stabilizing, giving his king a square on f7, and this very complex endgame will continue. The players will now start taking some time. Of course, we'll revisit it in a minute. But on the other board, a position that you're probably also still familiar with because it looks very much like something that you and I covered recently, a game between, I believe, first Giri and Caruana, and then it reappeared in the game Vachier-Lagrave against Caruana.
Yeah, I think Fabi has been defending this perimeter with black, and it's interesting to see now Anish sort of picking up the mantle and doing.
Some things are interesting here, though. Before we get into it, the first is Vachier-Lagrave goes for 1d4, which is not what he typically does. Typically, he's a diehard 1e4 player.
Yeah, there's been a few of these already in the first. This is still the round 1, although it is day 2. But even in the first round, we have seen now Dingliren play the Najdorf instead of the Spanish he's played seemingly exclusively for more or less the entirety of his career. And now MVL starting with 1d4, which is also, I'm sure if we troll the database properly, we will find 1 or 2 games of his in closed openings, but they will be few and far between. And yeah, seems like people are using this tournament as a way to also try out and expand in terms of opening repertoire, which is I think a good choice. People trying to learn.
Hashtag lifelong learner. And if you are a new d4 player and your opponent plays knight to f6 and e6, top level, I would say, maybe followed by the Grunfeld, then it makes some sense to go for the move knight c3, which Vachier-Lagrave plays here. Most top players prefer the move knight f3, but that gives black a wide choice. Well, after knight c3 at the highest level, pretty much everybody, or most people agree, you should play the Nimzo Indian, so it's likely you get that. And you have to prepare for doing battle in a sort of narrower field, which maybe was MVL's reasoning here.
Yeah, I think from personal experience, when I first tried making a switch from 1e4, which is something I've been playing more or less exclusively for like 20 years, to at least including 1d4, that was specifically the reasoning why me and my team were trying to make me into an IMSA player, because there at least it feels like it's manageable to try and learn what you need to learn.
Brag, me and my team. Anyway, they are playing a very sharp line here at first sight. But as mentioned, this has just been discussed at the highest of levels, so no surprise there. Let's get to the current position. G5, this stuff I still gave in my Nimzo Indian video series, but recently there has been quite some debate on this position, and I'm trying to remember the details. Peter, can you recall? Because I can't recall how this went.
I think there was a very specific point why you needed to start with FG, and maybe this is why FG has actually been included there, because there was a misplay in the game between Giri and Caruana where I think he waited for the last possible moment to take on G3, and that allowed some F4 in some position. Yeah, that's how it went. Yeah, bishop. I don't think they even take. I think. Apologies for that. I think it's bishop f5 immediately. I think the pawn on h7 survived. It's bishop f5. Bishop takes. How does it go? Why can't I remember
we don't
how
have
it
time
went?
to figure out.
Bishop f5. Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually, the position they have on the board right now is how it went, and then there was an option for white to play f2, f4 in that game, but it probably will take us too much time to reconstruct it properly. But what we want to say here is that the way Anish is treating it in this game is, I think, the current quote-unquote correct move order.
The question is, what does Maxime have in mind? Is he just testing Anish's knowledge, which is pretty known to be as good as opening knowledge gets, and then agrees, okay, you've shown me you know how to equalize here, and let's make a draw? Or does he have a point?
Yeah, it's slightly surprising, because that game between Nikita Vityugov and Fabiano Caruana just ended in a draw in a few more moves. Nikita played bishop f5 here. Fabi replied with rook cd8. And here the important point about that move is that after e6, black can play bishop takes e6, not f takes e6. Bishop takes e6, attacking the knight on d4 and making sure that white has to take with the knight. Therefore, there will be no forks on e6. And some kind of a position like this is just completely equal.
Opposite color bishops.
Yeah,
not much
too few pieces left on the board for white to try and do something from with his slightly better pawn structure, even that is unclear.
Can I come in here and say, while you've been talking about this position, which, as you mentioned, has been discussed, in the Fabiano Caruana versus Jan Nepomniachtchi game, there was a very interesting moment on move 20, where Fabiano played the move bishop to d3. And my question, and there's been some questions raised in the various forums, chat forums, is why on earth in this position after bishop d3, Jan Nepomniachtchi didn't play e4, which looks extremely strong because the bishop on d2 is unprotected, so you can't actually take on e4.
I think the bigger thing is that it threatens e3 check. Right?
Exactly, and e3 check is actually a really cute tactic. And
so you're saying he could have won a piece, yeah, if I see this correctly, and he didn't do it? Wow.
Apparently, I mean, I'm not sure how clear it is because you can put the bishop on b5.
But yeah, that is a very...
Takes.
Yeah, go ahead. You showing it on the board is actually more instructive.
So no, well, takes wins the bishop on d2 by force. You can just take everything off precisely. And if you move the bishop to b5 instead of taking, then you can play this beautiful e3 check, forcing a capture because you're forking the bishop and king. And whichever way you take, let's say you take with the bishop, which is most natural, d4, actually just does win a piece.
Looks like checkers.
That is something Jan would I don't see any refutation for it, and honestly, this is something I think Jan, when he's playing well, would spot and also execute in about 7 seconds.
Exactly.
Sometimes you just don't expect the world number 2 player to blunder a piece, so you don't look for such options, no?
Yeah, I think that's probably the vast majority of the explanation is exactly that. You just don't look for tactics which win material when Fabi is playing quickly and confidently.
Like if I'm playing my tactics frenzy and I'm given this position, I will need about 1.5 seconds to spot e4, and I'm not on the level of these guys, so it is very surprising.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, in the current position, if we just fast forward there, it does look as though Jan has got a pretty pleasant position.
So he didn't do it. He went king f7, ignoring this option. Now stuff stabilizes. This h-pawn looks menacing, but it's not really queening with the king being on f7, no?
And white's got this stupid d3 pawn, and Jan has just played f5. He's got a nice big sense.
Yeah, and also just briefly to make a note of the fact that white's last 2 moves were knight c3 e2, knight e6, and then knight e2 c3, which is like a tacit draw for here. I'm
Get
not
it
sure
together, Fabi.
I'm not sure if Fabi would actually have repeated again after knight d4, but it does appear as if he is not really in love with his position.
Well, he's hopped in with knight b5 with the obvious threat of knight d6 check. So black will probably
rook c1 already on the board.
And f4. Can you?
Yeah, and I think there's nothing particularly wrong with just picking up the pawn on g4, because the knights on e6 and e7 make White's possession of the open c file into a bit of a non-factor. It doesn't really do anything for White. And fg played. Yeah, I think black is quite clearly playing for a win here. I don't know if he has enough objective advantage to win, but it's obvious who of the two players believes he is better. And I think also Fabi kind of agrees, because as I mentioned, knight e2, knight e6, knight c3 is not the most ambitious sequence in the world. Which is all in all quite curious, because it was very much Fabi's choice to go for this endgame. Everything up to and including f3 was absolutely blitzed out by Fabiano. So it's very much by design that he's playing this endgame, but it appears not to be all that good for him. So interesting turn of events. And
sometimes happens.
Yeah,
blitz out your theory, and you still don't like what you get. I mean, especially this rook d8 probably got him out of book, and then if you start cold after blitzing out 18 moves, sometimes it's tough to find the best moves instantly.
And Maxim just made a move which made the point I was expecting to talk about there completely redundant. So
this will be a draw, and yeah, I'm a bit surprised by Maxim's choice. To experiment with 1d4 is fine, but just to more or less recite current theory and making it draw, I don't know. What did he expect to happen? I really don't get it. You don't.
Yeah, no, Anish is really not the person to try and confuse with really mainline theory, and especially the mainline theory that Anish himself played with the white pieces. He's not going to have too much trouble remembering.
Consolidating after rook d7, rook e7, so it will just be a draw in no time.
I thought the point, if there was a point after bishop a4, rook d5, if you look at the position after move 24, rook d5, I thought he was going to play rook d1 here and hope to have enough time somehow to play king g2 and f4. And then maybe you can make an argument that the pawn on f7 is weak and it's not so easy to trade the e-file for e4.
Just go back, no?
Yeah, but after rook d8, I mean, I can play king g2 and you still cannot trade straight away. But yeah, bishop b6, I think, just solves every single problem. So yeah, a bit of a weird one from MVL, in all honesty, but not much harm done. This is a 4-game match.
No, of course, he's still a favorite in the match, but it looks a bit like, well, I was kind of joking about him. Well, not joking, but I was implying he didn't work as hard on his openings as Anish does, and it could very well be that he's trying to save the ideas that he has for the candidates tournament. He's thinking, you know what, this one, I'll experiment a little, I'll learn about how to play 1d4, but I really have not come fully armed, or at least that's how it looks like in this game.
And also, we are kind of assuming he will just offer a draw here, but maybe he believes there is something to be gained from playing on for a bit. I don't know.
No draw offers. They're forbidden. They have to find a threefold repetition if they want to make a draw.
And as for the Caruana Nepomniachtchi game, I think White is still favored to survive here because the outside passer on h5 should distract black enough to generate counterplay, but it's not a given. And honestly, this is now a little bit awkward after knight d4 check, because I think Jan's idea is to play king e6 next move and try to drive that knight to some really unfortunate squares. This might not be this might not be as easy as all that, now that I look at this position.
King f2 played to avoid that check potentially.
Still playing so fast, guys. I just want to come in there and mention that. I mean, Jan Nepomniachtchi's got around about 13 minutes. He's barely used any time. Fabiano's got 7.5 minutes. And again, with Fabi to have such a position with White and still have around half his time remaining is another.
It's unusual. It's unusual.
They're just not able to adapt to online playing at this particular rhythm. There's absolutely no way Fabiano would get this position, in my opinion, over the board in a 15-minute game. playing so quickly. It's just...
and with Nepomniachtchi, we have to say, that's how he does it, even
Yes.
in classical games and games with longer time control. He likes to make his moves very quickly, especially when he's feeling good about things, to put pressure on the opponent. Of course, sometimes it backfires, but many a time it also does make his opponent's life miserable, because you just can't, take a bathroom break, have a little stroll against Nepomniachtchi, just keeps firing out moves.
Yeah, when he's playing well, it's an extremely unpleasant strategy to play against, because the quality of the moves he produces doesn't really decline, and you are very, very likely to be in severe time trouble, because it's or if you try to keep up with his pace, you are liable to start making bad mistakes, because not very many people can actually operate at that speed without a drop in quality. Then again, if he is not on his A game, it also impacts his own play quite a bit.
I must say, I think the French does suit him stylistically, especially all of these very sharp winnower variations. But I feel as though he would have a lot more success in rapid formats compared to long play, actually. Especially,
well, if you look at what happened to him in Yekaterinburg playing the French, he got a very good position against Kirill and should have lost it, because from a certain moment on, he just he played a number of really unfortunate moves in a row in that game. Should have gotten punished for it, but wasn't. And then he lost to MVL in the very last round of the tournament played so far, before the tournament was stopped due to travel restrictions being in place. For that game, I have it on decent authority that he just misremembered what the file said, but nonetheless, he played something he's looked at and then couldn't either remember what the file said or reproduce it over the board, and was more or less lost by move 20. So,
just to explain, all these guys, every strong grandmaster has a lot of opening files on his computer that you repeat before the game. And since it's so much information that you have to intake, not always does everything stick. It's like learning for a school exam. Also, some people are, putting in more hours than others, repeating their files between tournaments and so on. But it's very, very hard if you see thousands of chess moves on your screen before a game to remember them all and being able to reproduce them.
Yeah, those memory issues have happened to most of us by this point, and that was not a particular criticism of Jan. These things do happen. What I do mean is that I am not sure if I agree with Lawrence's underlying point that he is a natural player of the French defense. I think something like neither suits him a lot more.
I personally think the French is a very risky opening, but he chooses it in order to get a game, to get a fight, to avoid it being a file remembering contest. The problem is, the more often you do that with a sharp line such as the Wiener, the harder it is, because we've seen today it's played out well, but Fabiano did serve the first 20 moves without taking a break. So top guys will study whatever one of the other top guys plays.
Yeah, and a little bit of a tactic there by Fabiano by playing h6 without trading the knights first. But of course you cannot take, as Jan is now showing on the board, you cannot take on e8 because the h pawn then becomes a new queen. And Jan replies with knight f5. Now he doesn't. He threatens knight g4 check. Yeah, that's the move he is threatening here.
And so he does win the pawn by force. No.
And if the king, let's say, goes forward here to f3, then we can finally take on e8 because we have knight h4 check and knight g6 to stop the h pawn. So if white wants to somehow maintain this weird equilibrium, he should choose a different square, just not f3 and not g2. Something like king e2, for instance, is playable, but I don't know what that move does.
What if he? So let's just analyze the four. So if he goes knight c7 check. The question is, does king d6 run into knight b5 check and we pick up a7? And
probably does. I think we go into f7 here.
Well, if you go to f7, do I then have a moment just to go bishop g5 and d5's hanging, or what's going on there?
Yes, but we have knight g4, knight takes h6. Yes, the d5 pawn will get lost, but we do pick up the h pawn.
Yeah, but that ending there feels like...
I mean, they're all very close to a draw, but I don't know which one is the
Right.
closest. And King E2,
Right.
the move I mentioned as a kind of an oddity, actually has been played by
Interesting.
Fabiano, which I wasn't sure what the reply to King F7 is. The reason I wasn't all that enamored with this idea was that I couldn't really find a good reply to King F7. But I guess Fabi sees something there.
So King F7, the idea being you just want to put the king on G6.
Well, I wanted to eat the knight on E8.
Well, you want to eat the knight, of course.
Yeah.
But, after knight C7.
Yeah, then I go King G6, and we get a very similar position to what we're just discussing. But there's no Bishop G5 for you. So it looks like a strictly worse version of the same position, which confuses me a little bit because it just like, why would you choose that and not the previous one? I'm not entirely sure why Fabi went with King E2 there.
Are you worried, Fabi? He looks a bit worried. I like that his camera is really zoomed in on his face. Like there's not much background. It's just glasses and hair. And he does look concerned, even though Fabi, I find hard to read. Magnus mentioned that he noticed the tell with Fabian Caruana, the man we see right above me, that his lips start sweating when he's nervous. But I can't tell. Also, he's hiding his lip. Maybe he's heard about that. And he thought, you know what? No more mouth angles for you, Mr. Carlsen. Nepomniachtchi, as Lawrence mentioned, is easy to read, but he's normally happy, confident, believes in his position, likes to roll his eyes a little when his opponent makes a move he's surprised by. So he's feeling himself.
Yeah, and every right to be confident here. Playing for 2 results. That's about.
Yeah, there's definitely no chance of White ending up victorious in this game. It might still be okay somehow, but honestly, what we've been discussing this position for a couple of minutes, and I am yet to come up with anything that feels remotely satisfactory. Honestly, both knight c7, king g6, and knight f6, king f6. It looks to me like the h6 pawn is just going to get picked up, and then you are struggling because that is your one big trump here. Maybe you can go for something like takes, king f3, king g6, king g4, hoping that the pawn ending is not somehow lost. But black is not obliged to take straight away. Black can make any number of improving moves here. The pawn ending is probably not lost, despite being 2 pawns down for white. Although d4 might win. Yeah, d4 might win.
Not sure. I'm just messing around.
Yeah.
It could win.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, but at least there's a question here. This might be enough for a draw somehow. But the thing is, after king g4, black can definitely wait for some time before picking the h pawn up. Although there is a threat of h7. Having said all that, there is a threat of h6, h7 right now, which needs to be addressed. But it's a difficult. It's a difficult position to go for Fabiano, because if you're wrong about this being a draw, you are just like entirely wrong. You will just lose. Whereas keeping some more pieces on the board, it does, at least subjectively, I think, feels like you're generating more uncertainty. So he goes with knight c7, but I still don't know how to reply to king g6, which I expect to be played quite quickly.
Yep.
All right. Let's briefly check in with the other game where they're still making moves, but does anybody believe that MVL can win this somehow? The play with the white pieces? I don't really.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine making enough progress for black to even become significantly worried. I mean, optically, of course, white is a lot more comfortable, but that doesn't count for very much.
But only because it's to move. It was black to move. Boom.
Yeah, if it was black to move, yeah, that would be a pleasant position suddenly. Yeah, rook goes back, and we could maybe even discuss starting to push our pawns down the board ourselves, like b5, a5, b4, to at least remind white that it's not entirely one-sided traffic here. But Anish doesn't need to do that if he doesn't want to.
In the chat, we have a bit of a Giri discussion. Some people are saying, I don't like Anish. Some are saying, I like Anish. Why is it that Anish is such a polarizing figure in today's chess, when all he is a well-behaved, well-spoken, nicely dressed, friendly young man? Peter, why is it?
I am not entirely sure, although I do have some more insight into that side of things than I had until very recently. But yeah, I think mainly it's become a bit of a meme. People still give him hell for being an incredibly draw-heavy player who doesn't generate enough excitement, which I feel is just utterly unfair.
That
Considering
is
how
untrue, but I have to say, since if you repeat a thing often enough, it sort of becomes the truth in your mind. I am often a bit guilty of it, even though I know it's not true. If Anish is on the show and we do the drawing of lots, I can't resist making a joke like, okay, let's please take this seriously because Anish does care about drawing. Like, it's impossible to resist these things. And I feel we're not doing him a favor with keeping the meme alive, but I don't know how to escape. I just don't know, Anish.
No, it's just part of the lore by this point, and regardless of how true it is, if you consider the current state of affairs, because he was maybe at some point a drier player than many of his direct competitors, but I think in the past few years this really is no longer true, and
I think there's some truth to it in terms of, as a proud fellow member of the Chicken Chess Club, when there is a decision to take where door A is complicated, messy position, and door 2 is safe position with no losing chances but few winning chances, he will often take door B, which is a stylistic thing. But he does still provide a fair amount of entertainment on the chessboard. And I feel he's also more of a fighter than some other members of the Chicken Chess Club that don't have this reputation, which makes it so unfair. Still tempting.
Exactly, yeah. But it's, as mentioned, it's just so much part of the canon by this point that it's very, very difficult to escape all these conversations. Is MVL actually making progress after all the speeches we gave about him not having a shot here?
You know why I started this whole Anish Giri debate? Because I know that is bait that one man will never ignore. And if he hears a discussion about Anish as a man, as a player, as a person, he will chime in with his opinion. And I expect the world champion to show up here anytime to give his thoughts on Anish, on life, but mainly on Anish.
Anish is life.
Anish is life.
I used to have a T-shirt which I got at some tournament, which had a slogan called like "Chess is life, Bobby Fischer." And I once wore it to a party going out because I didn't put enough thought into it. Did not go well. Chess is life T-shirt at a party. Who would have thought?
Can we just go while Magnus gets connected? Can I just, I mean, this position here in the Giri game, what if, I mean, a very natural move here would be, of course, to pin this bishop with rook c5. But is White's idea just to march the king in further?
Yeah, king e6 might be a bad.
But guys, we have the chance to discuss Anish's character with the world champion, Magnus Carlsen, or to discuss this very drawn endgame. So, Magnus, what do you think about Anish as a man, as a player? How do you feel about his position? How's life in general?
That was a lot of questions. I think our boy has been showing a lot of character in this game, defending quite stoutly, and
but it's a bit.
I'm not quite sure yet whether he's gonna make a draw, but.
I was about to say that I would agree with this statement just for meme purposes, but I think his position is much worse than it was 5 moves ago. So
yeah.
So after
you gotta get your priorities straight, right?
Absolutely.
And the other game, Fabi is just going to suffer for another 10 minutes here, right? There's, I guess, no real way for him to reduce the tension here.
I think, once again, Magnus will know a lot better, but I think the understanding generally is 3 against 2 is probably a draw, but that's when the pawns are not broken up.
Yeah.
In this structure, I would not even be that confident White has a draw.
Exactly.
No, I absolutely I absolutely agree. This could very well just be a technical win. But in any case, it's not obvious. And the thing is, you will have to play b4 at some. Yeah, he just played b4. He did have to do that at some point in order to make progress.
Mm-hmm. So b4 takes.
Yeah, but two against one, it does feel like there should be enough enough resources for white not to lose this. And a kind of a general statement about knight endgames is that of the pawn down endgames, knight endgames are supposed to be the most dangerous after the pawn endgames for the side with fewer pawns. But as pawns get reduced, it becomes less and less true.
You think so? I think queen endings are also bishop and same colored bishop endings with a pawn down are usually pretty bad as well.
Did you just make up that rule, Peter?
I thought I didn't, but this is making me reevaluate my life choices. Obviously,
no, I'm reevaluating on the fly. I've always been taught the same thing as you have, but to me it doesn't make any sense. Like same colored bishop endings, surely those are just as you know, as decisive sometimes. It's
well, I mean, once again, we're going down a slightly irrelevant rabbit hole. But 4 against 3 on the same side, bishops are knights. You always choose knights as the strongest side.
That's right? For sure. That's for sure. So if that's the debate, then yeah, 4 against 3, it's knights, no questions whatsoever.
But Peter's moving the goalposts here. We see what you're doing. So
that's what we're doing. We're advancing chess, right?
Absolutely.
Unprecedented advancements are being made.
Yeah. And
so Magnus, tell us about your chess. Tough match yesterday?
Not thrilled, obviously, with the way that I played. Yeah, then I think most people know by now what happened in the Armageddon game, which was obviously quite a mess.
I heard that the arbiter, or there was some problem with the connection on the Zoom call or something, and then the arbiter contacted Hikaru during the game, and Hikaru was distracted by that. Is that also the story you got, or what happened?
Yeah, sure, but they tried to contact me as well. So I mean, I got there was some sound on my computer. Like obviously somebody was trying to reach to me, but I could only hear like bzz, bzz, sort of somebody was trying to speak, and then it stopped. And I could see that like there was a chat open on the Zoom call, which told me that probably something was wrong or perceived to be wrong, but it's not like in an Armageddon game you're going to open the chat and see, right?
Yeah, I was surprised Hikaru even noticed, because normally, yeah, you're only clicking on the stuff. But from what I heard, and I don't want to put words into his mouth, but from what I heard, he was, gracious about the incident, and he said, okay, stuff happens when we try new formats, so everything is cool, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I'm really, it's a shame that he was, at least to some extent, a victim here. Which obviously shouldn't have happened at all, but yeah.
Aren't all characters from Lord of the Rings victims? I mean, you know,
very weird segue.
In their quest to defeat Sauron,
I mean, if you're gonna talk about irrelevant bullshit, I mean, go somewhere else. We don't have time for that here.
That's why we need Magnus on the show, telling it as it is.
Harsh. And in another completely irrelevant segue, I think Anish is just dead lost now.
I feel bad that I called out MVL for his lack of taking this tournament serious by playing such a dead drawn line. Feel bad for Anish. I just feel bad.
I can understand it.
Yeah, I think if the bishop goes along like c7 or b6, f5, and f6 just wins on the spot, bishop f6 loses the bishop. Yeah, there's bishop h4 just...
Yeah, bishop h4 is the only move, but I can imagine rook a7 is going to hurt.
Yeah, after rook a7, I have to go backwards, and even f5, f6 could still be quite strong. Or there's also the g5, hg, f5 idea, which, you know, this is a position where it might actually work.
So
yeah, there are a lot of problems. There, king h8 probably you have to go. Because king f8, you can even go rook h7, just pick up the pawn.
So king h8, bishop e4?
Bishop e4 looks interesting. There's also... it just looks... It looks very, very scary.
Does bishop e4...
rook c4, I guess, is the only way you can continue for black even, but I don't see how it's refuted on the spot.
Can you just go f5 and start pushing as well in some positions? I guess you can, right?
Of course you can, yeah, but maybe you're somehow in time with rook c1, rook e1 check counterplay. Although I honestly doubt it. It feels like f5 of 6.
There's some king f7 and you're getting mated at some.
So yeah, rook a7 is on the board, so we're gonna see you pretty soon. And the other game has been drawn.
Fabi held. That was a strange game, wasn't it?
Oh.
Somehow I have the feeling like you should rather have tried to preserve the A pawn rather than the B pawn. I don't know.
You mean play before somehow with the option of taking with the king or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, if that option exists, you should go for it. But I don't. Yeah, maybe he could have played something like knight c7, knight g5, and then b4 or some such. Yeah.
So Giri in big trouble. He's got under a minute left to defend this miserable position, which, you know, requires a lot of accuracy if it is indeed savable, which is unclear. Actually,
yeah, this is not a given that this survives, honestly.
Yeah.
And king h8 does appear to be the way to go, because as mentioned, after king f8, f5, f6 just gains in strength greatly, because there will be mates on the back rank if you take on f6 later in the game.
Let me fire up my Giri cam. He doesn't look upset. He just looks like he's calculating. Also, once again, congratulations on the elaborate background that he's put together. That must have been hours of work in the Giri household.
Yeah. And he disagrees with us on where the king is supposed to go here. Yeah. And honestly, g5 hg f5 appears to be very, very promising.
I think also just king d6 looks extremely strong.
Rook down.
Rook down, rook f7.
7 and rook g7.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that might just be winning. Yeah.
That also brings back slightly bad memories, Peter, which you'll...
Yeah, I'm very sorry about your cell phone.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
What are you talking about?
When I was working with Fabi and he failed to convert the winning rook and bishop versus rook ending against Peter in 2016, hence guaranteeing the passage to play Magnus for the World Championship, Fabi did not win that, and I, in a fit of rage, threw my phone against the wall. Which,
wow, I'm sorry to hear that.
And it's purely Peter's fault, and of course.
Yeah, I was just gonna say now rook c7.
Yeah, I don't like.
Is messed up.
I think he can still take though, Russ. Right? Rook h6, rook e7, king f6, king g6, king h5. This might still be enough, but I don't like the way he's done it. I think, in particular, your king d6 was extremely clean.
Yeah.
And
no, but like the fact that he even has chances to continue the game, that shouldn't have.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think he probably just missed rook c7 existed as a move, because otherwise the black's position is just beyond repair.
But you have to take.
Sure.
And your king gets driven somewhere weird, or what's going on?
There's maybe an argument for rook h8, no, but then bishop h4, and if black actually establishes this blockade, you might never win again. This is something you don't want to be allowing. So.
Yeah, he's got to take, and then
he's got to take. Yeah.
He's got to take, his king gets driven all the way to h5, but then there is, I don't think, a way for black to trade the rooks off, so it should still be winning as far as I can tell.
Yeah, the problem is that f6 is a threat. Like otherwise, you might have had some counterplay with.
Bishop, you give a check. King e7.
Yeah, you will still have to work here. It's not that trivial.
And this position is on the board, so we're getting there.
Maybe rook h5 actually after.
Is there a chance we're winning after rook g7, rook g6, Magnus? Just to kind of calculate less.
Oh, yeah, it could be. So b4.
The right bishop.
Before, I think we can ignore. I think we have far enough advanced to just win.
Just f6.
Yeah. Let's go f6. Yeah, and this is what MVL has done. Yeah, he doesn't need the queen side anymore because of how far advanced the pawns are, and black has no blockade.
Okay, so he's got to do like rook d7 now, but then.
Yeah, he can not afford allowing f6, so he went king e7. That's actually no, but that's the same. Yeah, we take, we go king g6, g5, and hang on. With the king on d6, is it ever a draw with the king on d6?
No.
Yeah, shouldn't be. I don't think it ever is. Yeah. Takes when we start pushing our guys.
I mean, you can even play bishop c6, pick up one of those pawns if you're really lazy.
That's that's a good way to make sure you don't have to think about anything ever again here.
Yeah.
I like it. So Magnus, what's the agreement after the game's end? Players have like a 10-minute break, right? Or how does it work?
Yeah, it's a 10-minute break, and then the game threes are supposed to start at the same time.
Right. So after the first game, there's a 10-minute break. Then the next game starts, and for game number 3, they sync up again.
Yeah. So the matches don't get too much out of whack.
Right. Generally, I think the players prefer it if the games start instantly one after the other, but of course there's other considerations as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's was one of the points originally of the tournament, that you just go immediately and then you finish when you finish, so that it will be kind of like people play online.
And the game is over. Maxime Vachier-Lagrave has defeated Anish Giri. I feel very bad now that I called out Maxime for playing such a obviously drawn line in this very important tournament. But he's backed it up and he's beaten Anish.
I feel really bad that I didn't get here in time to correct you on that, because I feel like it wasn't a bad choice. You keep a little imbalance in the position, and he's very, very good at these endings.
Yeah, he actually, for all his reputation for sharp tactical play, he is a very, very efficient technical player. MVL.
Don't look that most tacticians are.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. Speak for yourself.
So which
you're neither a tactician nor an NBA player.
Yeah.
What would you say Lauren's biggest strength as a chess player?
Oh God, let's not. We've got a lot of people watching today.
No, but I think Lawrence has got like half decent prep and some sort of natural instinct for the game. That's what I feel. Like your instinct for the game is better than your level. That I would say.
So what's holding him back?
Everything else.
Everything else. Yeah,
everything. The rest of it. Yeah. Thanks, Magnus. Appreciate it.
I mean, you play pretty well when you're not thinking. That's my point.
Yeah. I think too. Yeah. I overthink. That's probably right. Should we then think about? So we've had a decisive result here. Fabiano, very unimpressive actually with his opening.
But he made a draw. That's the.
Yeah, Fabi's sticky. Yeah, he can make. He can be worse, and he's very resilient. But it was very unimpressive how he played the opening. So he'll be looking to bounce back, obviously, in the next game, and play well. Bounce back, but rather at least play a lot better. Anish, Giri with white. What do you think, Magnus? How is he going to approach this game? Because we're already getting into territory where a loss is pretty much the end of the match. Is he going to try and bounce back immediately here, or do you think he's just going to play in his normal?
Yeah, I very much think that he wants to try against the Grunfeld. Obviously now is I think he's gonna have some idea. Like he may have used like his best ideas for the candidates, but I think he's gonna have something up his sleeve. So we'd be really curious to see. And I think I think he's gonna go all out to some extent. I really feel like he needs this game, because if this is a draw, he's probably going to suffer a bit, at least as black again. That's going to be rough.
What do you think he's going with? Do you think he's going to test the Najdorf, or do you think he'll try and test some sharp Grunfeld line?
I think Grunfeld or the English is more likely.
Mm-hmm. He might. Okay.
And we have liftoff in the Nepomniachtchi Caruana game. A move we have seen Magnus himself play yesterday as well. This move, pawn to b5 out of a Spanish opening, followed by bishop b3, bishop c5, pawn to a4, and here bishop to b7, deviating from what we saw yesterday where rook b8 was played.
A bit of a surprise on move 7. This used to be a popular line, but rook b8, I think, more or less entirely superseded it by now, and it's not seen nearly as often these days. But yeah, it used to be a very important theoretical line here.
Yeah, clearly they're both prepped on this. So what people have been doing recently is that, let's say, white goes c3 on move 7, then they go like d6 and then if a4, bishop b7. That's something that people have been playing, and you can sort of feel that with the pawn on c3, maybe like it's a little bit looser with d3, so that you feel that there is more of a justification. But the way it is in the game, then yeah, rook b8 feels sort of sounder than bishop b7. But Fabi certainly has a very concrete idea in his mind.
Conventional thinking was always, you don't put this bishop here when white can still play d3, because then it's just staring at this pawn chain.
Yeah, and then as I said, like once white goes c3, then it's probably easier to get in d5, and it's easier to justify.
Yeah, I think all of that is fair.
But now, I mean, Peter, you're the one who's made a video on this line. So.
Yeah, but I was not. I considered talking about bishop b7, but since it was from the black side, I needed to choose one out of the two, and I chose rook b8. Bishop b7, I don't know if there is necessarily a refutation, but it doesn't have a stellar reputation these days.
No, it just feels funky.
Yeah. What Jan is doing here is interesting. I don't know if I've seen this exact approach before, but he's playing very, very quickly. So clearly he's looked at this at some point as
it feels
flicker
to some
on and
like,
off.
Feels to some extent like he's putting his pieces on all the worst squares. To be honest, like the bishop on h4 and knight on a3. What is that all about? Now the bishop goes to d5. But that's modern chess, I suppose. And now I think it's gonna normalize. Like after he's gone bishop d5, d6, he's probably gonna go c3. Knight d5 is obviously never good. Oh, he's gone c4. Never mind.
c4. Wow, that
it's a cool idea though. It looks what he's doing looks ridiculous at first sight, but now I'm starting to like it a bit.
So the idea after bc4, knight c4 is to go queen b4 or something, is it? And just
then I guess you take on f6.
Okay, I take, and you go knight e. No, you can't move the knight. So you take, and
You actually don't have to take yet, but maybe knight e3. Yeah.
I don't get it.
Queen b5 is what Fabi did.
Knight e3 maybe.
Queen b5.
Queen b5 does make a decent amount of sense. It makes black's pieces slightly more connected. Also, knight d5 is more of a threat now because we retain control. But yeah, knight e3 played as
this is super interesting.
So
I like the guy. I like the fact that these guys they're playing some serious prep here.
So the idea after Queen b2 is to play Queen a4 and then
or knight f5 maybe.
Knight f5 might be interesting. I was even wondering about something weird like bishop takes f6 and then offer a queen trade might give white a good endgame, but giving mate is generally preferable to having a good endgame. So. And also,
I think that's entirely a question of style, but
yeah, I'm not gonna.
So you want something like this, yeah, Peter, or Queen b1? How do you start?
Queen b1 drives the bishop to a8, which I don't know if it's an advantage or a drawback. Yeah, and then rook c1, for instance, and we do.
Yeah, knight d4, rook c7.
Yeah, but I think because the bishop is protected, I think we're
better
knight
b4, knight b4.
Yeah, I think we're better off playing Queen c1 there.
Okay, anyway, let's follow the game. He's gone bishop c8 and then bishop f6 had to happen probably because now knight d5 is a threat.
Knight d5 is now a threat because the bishop on b7 will not be hanging in the end, yeah.
It's a nice move, bishop c8, isn't it? Covering f5, unpinning, I like it.
Yeah. Bishop f6, and yeah, now white needs to have something concrete because strategically, like if you give black time to play knight e7, he'll be fine. I think the idea has to be some sort of queen c.
Yeah, queen c2 or queen c1.
Yeah.
Queen
in particular,
C2.
after queen c1, I don't see anything wrong with starting with bishop d7. So queen c2 probably is a little bit more forcing.
Queen c2 played.
Yeah. And here black can probably win a queen, but I think he ends up in a poor position. Like here after rook c1, you can play knight b4, queen c7, rook c8, but I think you end up close to lost in that queen up position. I think it takes d5 first. I think we need this. This has to be close to hopeless. But if we take on d5 first and go rook c8 after knight d5,
yeah, that might not be clear.
That position, queen on b5 hits a lot of white's weaknesses. On
then you have to think about how to make a draw as white.
Yeah, I think you have to make sure.
Maxime plays a Slav. Wow.
I guess we should talk about Slav actually ends up occurring because the top of the show, just very special offer going on at the moment. The offer of the day today, Chessables on the semi-Slav.
So you can watch 40% of the course, or how does it work?
40% off. You can watch 40% of the course if you want, but you can also get 40% off the cost of the course by using chessboard.com/Sam. It's 12 hours, I believe, which is probably the longest Slav series ever created, semi-Slav series ever created, with all of the very unique Chessable move trainer technologies and concepts. So make sure you get there because the Slav is making a bit of a comeback at the moment, actually.
I think the Slav has always been one of the sort of a sounder options for black.
Maxime plays 1e4 in the Grunfeld. Those are the rules. So him playing 1d4 on the Slav feels very out of character. He even plays the semi-Slav. Maybe he's watched Sam's course. Maybe he got the 40%.
I think he paid full. He's just a fan.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So loaded. Who cares about the 40%?
Top 10 betrayals, yeah. 2 games by MVL today, both of them in the top 10 betrayals list. Not playing the Najdorf and then, not playing the Grunfeld and not playing 1e4. That is just not right.
So all of this is fairly topical stuff for a while. The so-called Moscow variation. After e3, g6 is also, I would guess nowadays maybe the main move. Knight d7 used to be, but they started playing g6 to keep some options open. And Giri goes for something direct at the board. That'd be exciting.
Isn't that what Magnus Carlsen did? Vague memories of a match against Pepe Cuenca in a structure, h4, h4. That was a classic. But actually, throwing the h-pawn, castling long and throwing the h-pawn up the board is h4, g4, I should say.
So I have to say, what Maxim is doing is pretty brilliant. Like, he's actually found a way to play the Grunfeld.
Yeah, no, it looks like a good Grunfeld.
That is joy. We are back on.
That's just naive, Anish. The guy plays a Slav. You play a Slav. Play e3 or something.
Forthcoming against 43, which is that game, but pretty sure that wasn't what Maxim's intention.
But it's not called the Besser for a reason.
So that's
German language joke.
That's pretty schlecht.
It's a bit loose for white, no?
I like this. I like this for black a great deal. Yeah, CD5, CD4 is. It feels like it shouldn't be playable even because you cannot recapture back because f4 is hanging. So he went deep takes c5,
knight c6, right?
Yeah, now just play knight c6, and this is like the absolute best.
Anish.
What are you doing? Come on.
What is dc5?
What was he hanging?
I don't know, but protect.
But he prepares. How does he run into this?
I mean, this is crazy.
Take on c6, play long castles, and say I have more. That statement being factually true doesn't help you very much here, I think.
Just put a rook on b8.
Yeah, rook b8, bishop a6. Yeah, we're not. I don't know. I don't feel it for white here.
Yeah, I think like black is just winning here, to be honest.
Winning is a bit harsh, but probably not wrong.
Yeah, okay, maybe you can. I think, like, seriously though.
No, I don't. I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah.
I just feel like it feels a bit unfair.
What is this? Does he want knight f3 now? That must be.
No, but after knight f3, like we need to be like there has to be a way for black to be.
d4.
d4 knight e4 is what I.
Oh yeah.
I did not.
Then still there's queen f5. But...
Yeah, for sure. Maybe it's still very good for black. Actually, I don't see a good way to.
Messages or something in the chat saying Anish should not be in this tournament, which always pains me. Really defend what he did here, but after 11, 12 moves is not something.
Yeah.
Maxim is really wondering why
he played the Slav.
Yeah. I am a convert. I've been playing the Slav on and off for the mid-noughties, and I don't think I've ever had a position this good. A few games on the black side of the Slav, but generally, Anish does end up taking on c6. But yeah, this position is.
Do you really go long castles?
Very unpleasant.
I would be trying to hide here. Not that.
Yeah, you probably should.
Should d3.
Might just. I don't know. d4 as a threat. I think you're right. I think bishop should still be quite dangerous for white, though.
Yeah,
something like
a4, e5.
Yeah, some line like that. Your position could just be blown completely apart, and MVL will feel.
I feel like white is like 3-4 tempos.
Bishop d3 is Anish's choice, which.
Yeah, it's probably better.
Being bishop f5, like in the variations I was trying to calculate there in the lines we were mentioning, there was often there was an additional tempo for black with bishop f5 hitting the queen on c3, so c2. So that's a sensible option by.
Mark Twick is wondering, Anish hasn't played very well. Does he play online? Do you guys know?
I'm not.
He even plays. I think there is some truth to, he's more classically playing that much. I don't know if it hurts his instincts, but he's no stranger to the internet. Magnus, do you play a lot online?
With various degrees of frequency, of course, but I've played quite a bit or not on my life, but on my chess line.
Peter is playing chess online these days, but
4 for me these days. But I did make a bit of a comeback past week, which shocked me more.
But after all the bragging you did before, don't stand a chance. You sort of had to back up your trash.
Yes, went.
Knight a4 played, queen e7 was.
Wouldn't you want to give a check on h4?
The fact that queen f2 now exists as an option makes it slightly.
Yeah. This too looks extremely attractive.
Is always going to be doing very well there. And just to
No, that's two, and then.
And bishop a6 or rook b8, bishop a6.
Yeah, rook b8. This looks pretty.
No, this
awesome,
is this is kind of find the viewers that the second game exists progress in that second game.
Before we leave this game, knight e5.
Yeah, we expected something like this, and now I think white e3 and get the king to some kind of safety, but he's much worse.
All right, castles played. Anish suffering. Back to Mr. Nepomniachtchi. Lawrence, I need a small break. Can you?
Yes, just give me a second. Yeah. Back to the Nepomniachtchi Fabiano game. Very interesting position. Bishop.
But Jan is better now.
No, I think right now the evaluation is either white might potentially white at g4. And if that doesn't work, then maybe black is fine. But I think knight g4 comes very, very close to just being flat out winning.
Or without thinking.
Which his position is, if that's the choice he absolutely has to make, right? But that's not play d6, d5 in the end there, if we just, and that stops at least.
So,
well, I mean, that's the most normal thing to do. And if I can actually afford to take on it, because I think black.
Yeah. You could imagine, yeah, he goes queen f4, but.
Yeah, bishop f3 and d6, d5, black will grovel to a draw somewhere. Maybe gf? No, but gf is maybe a little bit too futuristic, no? How do you feel about gf in reply to bishop takes f3?
Might be just.
Yeah, because then we can try taking on h7, which is not a bad plan altogether. Yeah, could see much wrong with it, and hasn't taken on f3 yet.
very interesting. They've both got over 8 minutes. This feels like a critical moment for Fabi, where properly, because this
in the current position is to play, but I think queen e7, rook e1, you might resolve advisable. d5 is still impossible. F5, queen h6 feels like it's game over.
Yeah, queen f8.
The move Fabi made is a very, very sad indictment of a situation he found himself in. Terrible endgame. I'm pretty sure that's.
I was thinking rook d8, but then you just take on d6 and
you go rook b6, so you can get the queens off actually, but at least the game sort of continues, which is why I may or may not be there. I don't know.
Rook
there might be mate of some sort.
Yeah, maybe the game sort of goes on.
Besides not to bother. Yeah, rook d6. Well, if not for rook b6, I think you are completely lost. So he has to play rook b6. And queen takes h6 exists even here, but the king runs towards the center, so I don't know how happy we are about it.
And bishop f7, that's
what that does.
Yeah.
So this is basically an ending for...
we take on f6 with the rook, you have to take on f4. We take, and if you give black 2 tempi, maybe black is kind of okay, but
g4 might be bad news.
Yeah, I think just the supposed counterplay here.
And where you get played.
Well, there are these exchange sacrifices available, but I don't think they're good. And here, if black maybe knight c6 is away from white, it would
knight e3,
rook knight b2 now.
Yeah, it's got knight b2, but knight e5 looks extremely strong.
Yeah. Bishop d5. No, bishop d5, rook d6.
Yeah.
So after knight
take, b takes. Yeah.
King g7, and it's just a pawn, effectively.
Yeah. Although
okay, game goes on. Game goes on. So
yeah, because white either plays with this slight endgame, which of course gives black. Here.
Yeah, King g7 played.
White should be favored to win from here, but it's not. It's.
Anish's game. We'll keep an eye on this one. A big development happens, but it looks as though Maxim's advantage is just growing. Welsh looked gorgeous for these two bishops. Swap them off, and the question now is,
I think we played bishop b4, and yes, it allows extremely bad for white, right? Queen e2 has to be the, and we'll take and go rook a.
Really
It's a horror show.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Very surprising so far by Anish. Really, just not got into gear at all.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be deflated in 2 games to try and take the match to
as you probably history of chess of people coming.
I'm not sure I'm going to come back from battering today. That's for sure. Instead.
Pretty good. Rook e1, queen g5.
With the knight from a4 to f3 here, so I think we take with the rook.
You take with the rook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we create a threat. It's still not really playable because at the very least it drops the c5 pawn. And
yeah, take with the rook.
I think he didn't want to play an endgame because he is excellent.
No, we can try and mix things up. A smooth route or not. I don't see it happening. I think
Jan is definitely not.
What has Jan done that?
Say like 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like
why? That's an interesting.
Yeah, I just think with h4, h5, the structure is more manageable with black, especially as you will the knight at some point. Felt like an option. So I just. Yeah.
I think he is trying to argue here that he will have a structure that is stable enough that he can just run and win that way. But
it's surprising that Fabi went for king g6. So I think what he wanted was, let's say white makes a null move instead of rook a4, like like king h2. I think he wants f5.
King over to e5 and stand that way. Okay, maybe. Because I was wondering why, let's say, g3 hasn't been played there. I was expecting g3 to be on.
Yeah, I think rook is clever. But you also have to.
Yeah, know if this is such an easy convert.
Rook d1 and rook c5, just making here.
To make sure rook e5 doesn't happen, basically.
Yeah, no, he's gonna wait. But then he's gonna go f5 whenever that happens.
Black would like to play rook e6 followed by rook e5 is very with the king on f3. Actually, I think that was possible. It's slightly the position he played king f5, but instead of move 48.
That not happened.
Yeah,
what,
f5 rook e6 check king g7 because h4 is hanging now. Honestly, why hasn't this been played? This looks quite change for black, right?
Okay, so how?
Rook c4.
Rook c4, rook f5.
Rook h4 and something like g3 or something.
G3 that's king g6.
I think we get the 2 against 1, which is well.
This is
2 against 1's come, but it's still a draw.
If it goes f4, you bring the rook to g8.
So in this and played that great to release attention so quickly here.
But I think his king gets very active. Yeah, that's a very good point.
And
I mean, I have been reading my Dvoretsky.
Good on you.
Been reading it.
You get some of it
in there, slowly but surely. Okay, but now, so if we take, this looks logical.
Go, because unfortunately for us, we cannot play. Cannot is maybe strong, but do we make in that position? Because the rook on f3 is stable.
Can we maybe go back?
Maybe we just go back and play f5 and keep our own rook on the third.
We just put the rook. Yeah. Okay, how bad?
Rook g5, rook takes c5, shoot, goes king g4 and starts pushing the f-pawn play in the current position. Yeah, that's quite a few more tempi here too, I think.
Yeah, it definitely feels as though Jan didn't apply nowhere near enough pressure in this position.
And he spent no time, obviously.
Exactly. We were talking about this, Magnus. Is one of his big weaknesses, in my opinion. It can work for him, but it can also 9 minutes. There's absolutely nothing.
Yeah, now king f5, king e4 just appears to just be an
I mean, the fact that Fabi's effort whatsoever is kind of...
Yeah, just king d4 now. And
embarrassing.
it should be a a trivial draw now for black. Both of his pieces are active.
Can you
Rook
take
f5.
What's wrong with take 5 or something?
Like he has
Rook h2.
king e2. Oh yeah, that's the way to
That's
go, I
just...
think.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Rook e2, king h3, and
Yeah, this is...
you played rook h3.
It's probably also good. Yeah.
The idea of going rook f3 and rook c3.
Rook d7 now, still rook f3. Oh, he's going king c2.
King c2.
Yeah, which did not exist in Magnus 2. But the thing is, because rook f5 just picks that pawn up, so it's not that easy to pass productively.
Not that easy to pass, right? That's true.
Yeah, maybe it's passed that way. But then after king b2, maybe c5 becomes a threat because I want to play rook c2 next.
Okay, I think it's still a straightforward draw though. King e5 is nice. Yeah, that's good technique.
Yeah, c5, king e6, I assume.
Shall we switch over to the MVL game, because Giri has lunged in with his queen to a6, almost from of yesterday's Ali Reza.
Yeah, there are some similarities to create at least some kind of, or if you give black time, it's gonna get completely destroyed.
So my Mr. Hacker, why can't I play?
And I think you probably want to
5 first. Oh yeah, and take on f4 and take on e.
Creating a threat of rook takes a4
Right.
currently, g3 of course.
And
yeah, and if you have to play something like
he played rook g2, it looks like the only.
But now something like rook fg8, queen c6, rook d1 might be made for all we know. He went rook d1. Oh yeah, so I guess this is why he goes rook d1. It has an additional advantage of keeping the knight on a4 under lock and key. So cleverly done. And now rook fg8 is a deadly threat.
Actually, queen f3 is
not a bad threat. Queen c4 played, and now queen f3 just wins, right?
Queen d4, queen f1 is mate.
Yeah, and if you take on g1, we return to f3, and we go rook g8, and the inclusion of a second attacker ends the game there on the spot.
Yeah.
So MVL just wins seemingly today.
I mean, just blown him out the water, hasn't he, MVL? Winning choices. I think he needs to be commended for that. Playing b4, maybe catching Giri off guard, but managed to get such a poor position in this game with white in a Slav is...
Yeah, it's unforgivable.
It's really, yeah, he'll be very upset. He's not out yet, but I guess his chances of saving this match is something like, what, 5%? Something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And I guess he just resigns after queen f3 because, what's happened, yeah. Truly woeful by Anish, a game he's...
yeah, there's no silver lining here. It's just terrible.
Yeah, that you feel... That's bad, and you must feel bad.
Yeah, Nepomniachtchi might just be sent on tilt after this game, just ever so slightly, because, he's going to have 2 games where he had 2 clearly better / winning positions, certainly in the first game. And here, he didn't apply nowhere near enough. And this is just a trivial draw with the king on the right side, close to blockading the pawn. I just don't even... Yeah,
this shouldn't really be an issue anymore. King just comes to c5 or c6 if white goes c5 check, and black can even start threatening pawn endings because they are,
right,
in most cases, in time to go back to the pawn on f7. Yeah, Jan has been very generous with the chances in the first 2 games here.
I mean, not winning the piece in the first game was really the fact that he played so quickly, but not even being able to press that other position was kind of, well, you would expect a bit more pressure. And it looks as though this is just...
You can go rook a4, rook c4. I think there's nothing. Why not?
Yeah, let's just calculate a little. Like,
sure.
King e3 takes, king e4.
King c3, I thought.
King c3, f4, or back.
Yeah, maybe not that amazingly even. Takes. It was a draw, but f4 might be...
Okay.
King f5 now. I think king e3 he goes f5 and f4 check, pushing in that pawn endgame. Yeah, I think
actually we can get one of those mutual Zugzwang for the king, just to illustrate something like this. F4, king e2, or maybe king f2.
Yeah, you're still
already looking, but this is what?
This is winning for white because king h3, king e2, not king e3.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but now the game is
worth knowing your classics, though, ladies and gentlemen, for sure. And Dvoretsky has done a series for Chess 20, so make sure.
So minutes to the next game.
We may.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take a little break. The games.
So a draw, Nepomniachtchi Caruana. That match is all square. Fabiano having to defend two much more inferior positions, and Anish Giri just hasn't shown up today. He's just got beaten comprehensively, actually, in both games, and is in need of a miracle to save this match. Else he's just gonna, well, he needs to win both games. Simple as that. And been good fun so far. Again, a lot of drama, a lot of action, and I guess this might be a good time to talk briefly, although it seems as though I think I'm still audible and not sure if I'm visible.
Definitely audible.
I'm definitely audible, which is the most important thing. To talk a little bit about, again, the offers we've got today. Some very, very special offers if you've just joined the broadcast. Today, as you've just seen MVL play the Slav, we've got a special semi-Slav competitions and is always full of bright ideas. He has got a fantastic new series on the semi-Slav, which is available with a 40% discount today, guys. That's a 40% discount for Chessable course. 12 hours, actually, this course is. So it's a very, very long, very detailed course. And of course, the whole point is Chessable with its very unique move trainer technology will mean that you can learn this opening very well, very thoroughly, and very correctly by studying this course. So get over there. And remember, it's not just Chessable and this course with a 40% discount. You can also get your Chess 24 premium membership today. 40% off, not just today, but for the entire tournament. Use the code STAY at home. And of course, becoming premium means you can challenge the grandmasters and play the likes of Magnus Carlsen and Anish Giri when they are doing their banter blitzes. You can access the deep analysis tools. You don't have to stand the constant advertisements. And of course, all the wonderful video series are at your
fingertips is the word.
Fingertips, if I can get the word. Yeah, exactly. Hundreds of hours of video training series, openings, middle games, end games, practical play, whatever it is, by some of the world's best. So make sure you do all of that. Jan Gustafsson.
I'm here. I can hear your very soothing voice selling me products, but I cannot doing it.
I have no idea why I'm not. I haven't touched anything. So that's very odd indeed, but I will try and fix that, and I'll let you take over the mic. For
microphone check. Peter, my boy Anish, he's not playing well. It's painful to see. He got just crushed with the white pieces without really standing any chance. What went wrong there? I still don't get it.
Yeah, this is a very, very confusing games to me. Well, game by move 20-ish, and that just doesn't happen to Anish. It's very, very, very unusual to see how that match is going so far.
Yeah, now he's down 2-0. His back very much against the wall. The games are about to restart. But yeah, Anish, some draws on the board, or who are saying, Anish, he hasn't been able to do it. First game can happen, you can win. Second game, not feeling it.
Good.
Couldn't agree more. Trent is back with us in full beauty.
So I'm back and I'm audible. Brilliant. Yeah, I want to see angry Anish. I don't know about you, but we all love Anish, but I actually want to see Anish a little angry. I think it's time he fires up the engines here and just says, you know what, I'm actually sick.
I think
it's not literally, right?
Not literally.
Probably not literally, but what I want to say is, you know, his opening choice in game 2 was, it felt to me exactly that. I think he chose about as sharp a reply to the Slav as he could have. It's not as if he is taking this lightly and not trying to strike back after losing game 1 with black, but you just don't expect his opening choices to be as poorly thought out. And yeah, it's difficult to even pinpoint exactly what went wrong in that game. It felt like he played a sharp line which he didn't really understand or look at before, which is we know something that never happens with Anish, and was close to lost by move 15 or 20.
Yeah, he's usually very, very good at targeted preparation. Maybe he just thought it's 100% that MVL will play the Grunfeld, and getting his Slav, I don't know, took him by such surprise that he went for something sharp but half-baked. Yeah, Lawrence, you enjoy half-baked, right? Both the movie and the ice cream.
Is that a question aimed at me?
Yeah, that's why I started.
I like being in the state of half-baked, that's for sure. That's a good state to be in. Of course.
We do not endorse this.
We do not endorse such things here.
I don't even know what that means.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, let me put it this way. I was in Amsterdam for the Batavia tournament a few weeks ago. Maybe that will give you a clue. Maybe it's in...
Nope. Please elaborate further.
Got it. It's the dry humor. I'll never... So, I am going to make a prediction that Fabiano Caruana...
Oh.
I think Jan work on what Jan just played. He's going to... I actually have... I think it's...
Psychologically, I think that's a very sound call. Yeah, and the old football, if you don't convert, if you don't score, you will... One does apply to Czech. That so far he's gotten arguably poor position, more or less straight out of the opening. You know, the somewhat tilting any of those two. You know, in control of proceedings in
tiltable though, right? Like if I had to rank, would go with Jan. I'd put him maybe because there's also Magnus and Hikaru. I think is my number 4
on that list. On whoever you ask, he does have with tilt and with the match still being level after the.
What do you think? I think it's.
I think he sticks with the French. I think no.
Nah. Not with the 10-minute break. If the match was straight after, I would say yes. But I actually think.
But this is.
I'm willing to take action here. I'll take French.
All right, you got action.
I think
we both have action from me at evens.
Okay.
Beautiful. Another Coke Zero for my collection.
Yeah. How many Coke Zeros have you won off me? Like 6.
Oof,
I think
I've literally made 0 calories.
Peter, we're gonna have what are we gonna do here? All right, yeah, we're gonna have a
okay.
So also one of our
I can only envy you, Lawrence. I only have one.
A bowl of borscht. I've never bet, and there's a chance it's a French. He's going with a Najdorf.
Like a borscht.
You know what borscht is? Like a.
No, this is This is why we're here, clearly.
And, the French plate. Who would have thought, except for everyone but Lawrence?
Come on.
Come on.
Don't be like that.
No, I mean, I thought it was absolutely...
Bring some Vaseline.
A cast iron certainty that the French will be played in this game. And Fabi actually deviates with something that I would not have expected.
Oh, this line. I haven't seen this line at the highest level for a while. Interesting.
Yeah, but
this is sort of modern computer influence. Like You were sort of supposed to go 97, but then it turns out that f6 may just be a better square. So that's what people are doing now.
Yeah, you used to just automatically play 97, hoping to get bishop f5 in, and then people realized that actually it's possible to stop bishop f5 for a while. Yeah. So, yeah, and also noticeably Jan is completely unfazed by this, and I think by this point you really have to just admit that a lot of thought went into preparing the French for the candidates, and
I can never tell though if he's in book or if he's just making moves quickly. Magnus, do you have a read on Jan when he's bluffing, when he's not?
I don't read. I just generally assume that people are in book. This is starting to look like a Petrov, though.
It does look a little bit like a Petrov.
Yeah. And, apart from that ridiculous knight on g3, of course.
Yeah, that's not a very harmoniously placed piece. Jan has done some stellar work in the Petrov in that specific type of Petrov recently. That game against he won against Hao in Yekaterinburg was an example of, you know, beating a very strong, very experienced Petrov player basically on their territory. I was very impressed.
Exactly. We have liftoff in the other game too.
Yeah.
Come on, Anish. Well, Anish is counting on goal difference, right? He just wants to reduce the...
He's playing the Sicilian. What else do you want him to do?
No, but like...
Well, the perk, or I mean the Peerts.
No, I mean I just think once you face the Alapin, then you could go. Yeah, I don't know what you could do.
Yeah, I think the Alapin is such a, you know, soul destroying side for any Sicilian player that by this point, like your decisions are not irrelevant, but so heavily influenced by the disgust you feel looking at the position. But
yeah,
why? I used to play the Sicilian only against Alapin players. Felt like the least scary line. That's how we do things in the CCC.
You are in a very vocal minority there. Yeah.
I've had this position on the board. I think it's sort of tricky for black, but if you're precise, you equalize. So chess, I guess.
Yeah, I think there are a number of ways to equalize here in this position. Like, I felt like at some point Mamedov, he was playing this in every single white game, and it's just so many ways for black to be fine. Sort of excitement. Yeah, and do Jan and Fabi just have a pact to play quickly, or what's the deal there?
I was about to ask, yeah, like if I take on d6 here with the bishop, rook e1, queen d6, queen f8, or
queen d5, we take on a3, and
we take on a3 and nothing back, yeah. Supposedly, yeah. Isco? Same line, but we go queen d7 here.
Well, now maybe c6, right?
Oh yeah, with knight on a5 we can just go c6 and queen c7 though.
That was missed.
Yeah, I'm getting slightly confused here because it feels to me like we might not be doing that.
And then anyway, he took on e8, and
like he started with rook e8, and Jan didn't take with the knight. None of this is really easily understood for me. And h4 now, and yeah.
Around they both have 15 minutes, yeah? They're not taking a lot of time.
No. It's as if this is some kind of a tabia and you are supposed to have spent hours and hours analyzing this endgame, which I don't think is true. Should still be around.
I had the feeling in general, because I'm curious, Magnus, what do you think? Because I also felt you played very quickly in your match yesterday. Is it that guys are more used to blitz online? It felt like you often had a lot of time left.
I didn't feel like I played that quickly. No, I sort of disagree. I felt like I played quite normally, and then usually when I spent time, I blundered. So probably should have played more quickly.
Right. So
in particular, the one topic that we brought up during the live show yesterday was the second one, the one with the H pawn march, where
that was incredible. Like I just assumed he had missed F4, F5, F4, and then HG6 was sort of an unpleasant surprise there.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
All right, back to today. Isn't Nepomniachtchi much worse here? Or this is above my pay grade.
He cannot possibly be much worse.
No, slightly worse I can buy, but much worse no. I think there has to be a. I mean, the horrible structure kind of compensates on the. I mean, the D5, D6 pawns are kind of compensated by the C2, C3 pawns. And I don't think there's a way to force black to take on d3, which is sort of very evident from Jan going h6, bishop h7, and not taking on d3 at any point.
Yeah, queen f4, queen e6. He probably wants knight f1.
Yeah, knight f1 e3 is a logical continuation. But let's say even if we go sort of full passive and play knight c6, knight e7, it just doesn't feel like there's enough material on the board to. Although, maybe.
I don't know. You go like g4, maybe.
Yeah, king f2, g4, and then you start thinking about maybe
bishop
one day
f1,
playing c4.
Bishop f1, c4.
Yeah, it might not be if you go completely to some kind of a passive stance. It might not be that fun. And in the other game, it feels like Anish is. I don't know. What's your opinion, Magnus? Because like to me, it feels like if anyone is better in these structures, it's black. But that's probably wrong.
Yeah, I feel like he's made some progress. Yeah.
Speaking of passive stance, where is Magnus? You're just low. Yeah, there you are. Sorry, I couldn't see.
But yeah, what I wanted, the reason I brought up the structure and the evaluation is that I understand Maximus to kneel up, but I'm still kind of sad about the choice he's made in this game because considering how the games 1 and 2 went, I don't really feel like there was a particular need for him to make sure he makes a draw with white out of the opening.
Yeah. You must have heard the German saying, a good horse jumps only as high as it has to. He's played 1 d4 to get a win. Now he's back to e4 to make a draw. It's beautiful stuff.
Yeah, but he is one of the better Sicilian players going around these days, and playing the Alapin, and also this specific Alapin is basically just saying I want to make a draw and just make sure that the match is over before I even have to play the black game. And
you're criticizing that?
Not criticizing exactly. I'm expressing sadness because as a watcher of the game,
I would just say that he certainly feels like winning the match is enough. There is no need for lapping the field.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, was that an attempt at a joke? I think
it was a joke.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Sounded like an attempt at one, but
yeah,
each to their own.
It was okay.
It was all right. So, Fabi, this position is a weird one. These queen endings with loads of pawns are actually quite tricky, no? Like,
I think the position is too closed for any side to achieve anything. I think we can even play like ugly chess here and just play
what, f6 and just
f6, queen f5, queen takes f5. I don't know if even that loses. And apart from queen f5, you don't actually have a winning shot. But
so what you do is you bring the king to b2,
and then you play a4, of course. No, I understand,
yeah.
but I wasn't altogether sure that this lost for black, and obviously Jan is not obliged to do it straight away. Playing f6 is by no means forced. So he goes a5 first.
Yeah, but he's probably actually going to have to do it. Like g5 might be a little bit unpleasant if you. No. But I mean, you gotta bring the king around first.
Yeah, but I think actually a5 indicates that he wants to play a4 and then f6, and that puts everything on complete lockdown, right? Because really the structure is entirely closed after that.
And like queen f5 takes, king goes to f4. Oh, e5 d5.
E5 d5. Yeah, that was my point exactly. I can allow you to play e6 and get this beautiful protected passer if there is no entryway anywhere.
Sorry,
Yeah, so,
I'm too slow. So queen f5 here,
no,
or just
let's, I don't know, king e3, a4, king g2 first, like just to start on the plan of getting the king secure, and we play f6 here. Queen f5 we take, you take the king over to f4, you play e5, and I just, yeah. And like if white could steal with of getting the king all the way back, loses for, well, not probably, just loses for black, completely closed. It's just a draw on the board.
So do you think he's correct to go for the lockdown? Should he reopen the position?
That would work. If it's not bad, it's better than Magnus.
Mainly I'm just stunned that Lawrence anointed himself as the judge of a bon mot.
I like it. I think we should have Lawrence judge every
anointment ceremony. That's what I want to know. That's nah. So that's probably going to be a draw, and in the end, equal.
Yeah, but I don't think there is much of a chance of actually, because what ends up happening in some fashion is a2 gets stranded, and then yes, you are. If you want to claim where you are, but you're just not winning that end.
Oh, rook c4. Oh, nice.
It's nice in the sense that it's a draw.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a great game.
He's playing professional, as Levon would say. This is how a professional would play. I like it.
What's the definition of professional? Because I'm always confused by that. It means getting paid for what.
Well, Levon would often say in a post-professional, this would be a professional move.
Right.
I think what he means is not necessarily a move that somebody getting paid would make, but the most efficient route and cleanest.
Yeah. This is, if this goes sort of according to plan, which I really expect it would be the first really dry, full round of games in the event.
Maybe that's why I like this round so much. Queen b5 now for Anish, or what was the way here? Oh, you just take on e3.
Queen b5 would be an attempt to be worse. Takes rook b4 and you lose a pawn.
He's not going to do that. No, he took and h6. He's playing professional.
Yeah.
That is professional.
Very professionally done by.
Now rook c4 is yeah, that's professional actually.
Yeah, rook c4 is actually, because f7 gets lost in the end.
Exactly.
Yeah, queen c1, queen a2, we take on c6 twice. They go queen a1, queen d4, we go queen a8, queen e8, queen f7.
Oh, queen b3, that's even more professional.
Yeah, queen b3 is also not bad at all. Yeah, it feels like we're going to have a reasonably short round here, but also with games finishing more or less simultaneously, as I assume they will. Although you sometimes see people actually play that 4 against 4. That, well, he didn't even go rook b8 here. Okay.
So the Fabi game is officially over. The position got very, very locked up indeed. 1.5, 1.5 is the score in that match. 3 hard-fought draws, and Anish will also get on the scoreboard in the MCI. Do we call it MCI? What's the term? Magnus, you're the namesake. Is MCI acceptable? How should we call the tournament?
Haven't thought too much about that. Sure, I don't mind.
I actually do have a question for Magnus about this tournament. Did you handpick the players, or was it done by the suits?
I handpicked a few of them. And then apart from that, yeah, the Suterati.
The Suterati, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't Black now actually? No, there's G4, I guess, because it feels like yeah, he just gave up on D4.
What is he doing?
What are you
Focus,
doing?
Maxime.
That squeal was not a squeal of delight, I feel, because
that's the most insane. What is he doing? Maybe he miscounted the pawns and thought it was 3 versus 2.
no, I think he thought he can just continue checking, and I think he could have actually continued checking.
Exactly.
Like Rook C8 here.
Like
Rook C8, King D7. We go Rook G8.
exactly, Rook G8.
G6, G4.
Exactly.
But then there's Rook H4 in the end. That's a way to create problems for yourself.
That would have been Rook H7.
It is a draw. It actually is a draw.
Yes.
So he just declined to calculate for 3 seconds to
and he's got 11 minutes. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. They're playing.
I mean, he's still a huge favorite to hold the 3 against 4.
Of course, but it's not.
But yeah, just do this and you don't have to play a slightly worse endgame for another 15 minutes or 25, or whatever the case.
Well, Anish can now play forever here. Yeah.
What I like to call not professional.
Very, very, as we say in Russian, не профессиональный something.
Yeah. Something.
I think there are various schools of thought there. Like Maxime believes that this will take no real effort whatsoever, and he felt like the other way. If you do miscalculate, you actually risk getting into some real trouble. I don't get this G5 though. I feel like takes and G4 is just making it really, really easy.
Yeah, that's not a way to pose problems. But then again, with the pawns already on G3 and H4, there aren't really any ways to make much of a dent.
I know. But
you go for the classic Kasparov Piquet or something. No, you go H5, E5,
exactly.
E4, and hope for the best.
Yep.
But if MVL doesn't play G4 here and allows Anish to play G4 suddenly,
nah, still nothing.
Still nothing.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Okay.
There's a question. Bateman47 wants to know: did MVL determine to show the French suffering school in the endgame?
No, this is not the real French school of suffering. This is sort of fake suffering.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretend suffering.
Like my Weltschmerz.
Weltschmerz, exactly.
Okay, Rook A2, King G3, yeah. And now, unfortunately, you can't get any favorable ways here. It's black. It's just a draw. Just nothing to be said.
So what was the last? Yeah, because I was wondering why he's allowing F5 if he has allowed that. But...
because there's some trick here, with F4 check, basically.
Okay, so what can happen is like, let's say you go F5.
Yeah.
F5. Okay, let's say white makes a no move. You go F5. You take.
Yes.
Rook B8. I just wanted to show a little trick. F4, King H3, Rook F2, Rook G8, and then Rook G5.
Oh, nice.
Or King F6, also Rook G5 works.
Very nice.
That is King G2, I think,
King
is
G2 is
King G2
cleaner,
is-
yeah.
King H4.
slightly cleaner there, Lawrence. Yeah.
I didn't
No,
say
that
King
was me.
H4.
That was me.
Come on, as if I would play a move like King H4 then. Give me some.
I was absolutely sure it was you, Lawrence.
It was definitely not me, mate. I would never
Okay.
even dream of King H4 there.
Okay. If you say so.
That's a lot of King H4 shaming, guys.
As Greta Thunberg would say, how dare you?
She would say that, wouldn't she?
Yeah, she would.
Probably not about King H4. That's a
How
good
dare you
trick,
joke
though.
about her?
Okay, so they're just playing the moves here. There's not really much to talk about because it's just.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to imagine how you.
Okay, so now he's gonna go F5 though.
Yeah.
No, apparently not. But
Okay, so the thing is, once you go F5, you take, then you check on G8, King H6 to force, and then you give a check on H8, King G7, and you go Rook A8, and then F4 is
Also,
just to ensure you don't have to calculate it all.
no, but my question is, let's say if I just go extremely passive, if I go, I allow F4 check and go King H3, Rook F2, Rook A3, do I ever lose that position? I just,
you probably don't.
Yeah, I just have a feeling that we run very, very few risks in general in that endgame. But
Black runs even fewer. That's why
Yeah.
Anish will continue for a while here.
Yeah, and somewhat luckily for us, the final rapid game in the Nepomniachtchi Caruana match is, I guess, about to start, which will give us something with more pulse to talk about.
Okay, people, I've got some food coming, so I gotta go.
As a professional,
What a
would
lazy
say,
excuse. Thank you so much for joining, Magnus.
Thank you, and good luck to all our boys for the last game.
All right. There we have it, guys. Magnus Carlsen, the world troll chess champion.
In a stunning development, we have learned that he needs sustenance to keep afloat.
I've never seen him eat. Sounded like a lie.
Yeah, he might have just been looking at an excuse to get out of here. He couldn't stand looking at this ending anymore. All right, so we've got Jan Nepomniachtchi against Fabiano Caruana about to kick off their final match. And this is going to be an interesting one because...
Lawrence, usually, just to clarify, usually in chess, we say if it's an individual game, we say game, and for the 4 games together, we say match, right?
Thanks very much. Yeah.
No, I'm not trying to be annoying, just because people often ask about this, and I think in chess it's universally agreed upon.
Yeah, I think that clarification is often badly needed for when you read chess covered in non-specialized chess.
Because match sort of feels more intuitive if you're new to chess. In tennis, we say match and so on and so forth. But in chess, usually match refers to all the games together.
Mm-hmm.
Indeedy. And
yeah, and Jan had a very, very promising position out of the opening with the white pieces in game 2.
Correct.
So it will be interesting to see what adjustments will be made for the 4th game, because Fabi will probably not want to play the same line again, or at least he will definitely check whether there's a cleaner solution available somewhere along the line, because he was in quite some trouble in that game.
Absolutely was. And remember, guys, a victory here for either of these players means a win for their match, and they would get 3 points. So a lot to play for here. And of course, if the game ends in a draw, then they'll be playing an Armageddon game, hopefully without any controversy like we saw yesterday with all...
Yeah, that should probably be avoided.
Yes, to decide the winner of this matchup. And MVL against Giri is still going on.
Now there's really not a lot. There was an option for black to get a position where you could at least imagine white running into some trouble, but Anish did it in such a way that he was more or less forced to play e6, e5, and now the only pawn break available to him will actually break up his own pawn structure, which makes winning chances, which were low to begin with, more or less completely non-existent. And we
have liftoff, the Rui Lopez.
Yeah. Fabian not repeating the Yurtaev for the classical Spanish, something he has been doing quite a bit, and replying d6 to 6 d3, something that I think is, in terms of games played, quite clearly a second favorite choice on move 6, but a very well-known line, and they are headed towards a position like there is a good possibility here of the game after seems like line.
Yeah, Caruana goes like ED, CD, bishop.
It is a little mess where I think this is what I ended up recommending in my 24, which were those positions are very, very nice your pieces in a tournament game, and bishop h2 Zaitsev type positions kind of transpose a whole different set of
just to explain what you're talking about. The Zaitsev is what we call this opening, the move bishop b7 here, normally stemming from a different line, and sometimes you can get very similar looking positions. Some would even say the same position, but there is a pawn on h3.
Exactly. Yeah, Jan is trying to save on the h2 h3 move, which is not all that necessary when there's no need to cover against bishop g4. And once again, they are playing incredibly quickly, despite the moves being made being, not that forced. I have a feeling this type of a Briar, and once again, I'm using these names interchangeably here, but Gadakamsky, I think, was one of the proponents of the idea of playing a5.
This is the Briar, just if you're not.
Though Kamsky was doing this even with the white pawn already on a4, which is a lot more risky strategizing a protected passer on the a file. In the meantime,
by the way, before we MVL versus Anish Giri has ended the match with 2.5 half will still be played, but he can no longer.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a critical game. Fabiano's got a perfectly reasonable version.
There's somebody who played these Spanish lines all my childhood. If I got this position with black. It's still not a given that black is doing so well, and I quite like the move that Jan played here, the move a2, a3, asking black politely.
D5? Yeah.
I think you will probe after some kind of cb4, ab4. I mean, d5 we take cb, ab, I go a4. How these things can go wrong after knight c3, I suspect.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we play
specifically knight c3? Knight c3, white will have to calculate. It might be good, it might be less good. And Fabi says, thank you, don't need to do that right now, plays bishop a6. They are playing, unless this is somehow a line they both analyzed up to here, I really don't understand this speed of play. And they both have basically the
feels like they've been playing a game of chicken, time to think first and who stops blitzing out the moves. I don't believe they've both analyzed all these random positions they've been blitzing out moves in.
Yeah, if let's say in the frame, extremely sharp line has been actually looked at by both of them, but this is a sideline of the 6D stopping. Like, if this is exactly as Jan said, situation where.
Lawrence, in truth or dare, what do you usually choose?
Been many years since I've played that game. Probably though, yeah. Dare to go queen b6 here, which looks weird to me, but...
Well, I mean, the pawn on b4 was arguably hanging, so he's protecting it. It's not...
Okay, but now if we... No, but we take play c4, d4 and...
Yeah, this is the big after queen b6. On the previous move as well, but
and the
after
point
queen
is,
b6 now.
h6 I just take on d6.
Yeah, but what I wanted to say is that white has to choose between taking on b4, winning on b4 with the c pawn and playing a4, and I guess not getting somewhat maybe somewhere on the a file. Yeah. Because there black has definite counter against the pawn on b3, and in general your piece is exactly the kind of a structure that Gatakamsky was aiming for, because black gets very due to active in particular is just so stupid in this position. It's head against the d6 e5 pair. So I think a b c4 is waiting for a while, but I don't know what useful waiting moves he even has.
e4. But
it's not an h4 position, right?
Yeah, no, I don't, not just yet.
But I mean, you asked for it. I don't know how stupid it actually is. I mean, in jest, but now is it so obscene?
g4?
Yeah,
why not? The last time I checked.
You know, too many of us are in a year to remember, but that move, though, I'm not sold on.
By Jan, but makes perfect strategical sense.
Just before I forget, I would say that with hindsight, 2020 has not been great.
Well played, sir.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, what else can he do?
He's gone h3, which is, as mentioned, there is an option of keeping everything in place and not committing to any. Yeah, I'm not against it. I just find useful things to do with black here, like rook a d8 or rook a c8.
Yeah, then we go a b c4.
I'm actually quite happy about that. I need to evacuate the bishop from a c. It's easier for black to play something like bishop c. A b c4, in particular in connection with playing knight, changing the structure that way is likely how the game will continue eventually. An additional point of maybe creating, I don't know if you can call it f6, now that we've protected the d6 pawn.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I mean bishop h6 doesn't really do anything concrete.
Rook a c8 on the board, and I wonder if this one here, so which looks perfectly natural, is Fabi actually, like, is knight d5 ever a threat? So let's say I take c4. Bishop b7 looks kind of sad, but let's just put it on. Is knight d5 actually a threat there?
Bishop b7 or bishop b7?
Bishop b7.
No, if it's a threat, but it's definitely an idea.
I understand if you can actually take here.
Round up the pawn on b4, and it's...
Yeah, like rook a4?
Mm-hmm. No, I think we do pick that pawn up, which is why I mentioned that a b c4 followed by knight d5 in short order is how I expected this to go. But Jan continued committing to I think he's that's not a particularly good English sentence.
Rook a1, a little lazy the way they're playing, but a little bit scared. But they're
It's not lazy or along these lines. Yeah?
I mean, none of these moves feel critical, is what I'm trying to say. None of these ideas feel critical.
I don't know. Feels like it's pretty legit battle of who can make more useful moves without committing to any structure.
Yeah, but I will say, although I don't really agree with Lawrence, it did seem to me that the rook is better placed on a1 than it is on d1.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take that as an agreement.
And also, now in terms of concrete things happening, in terms of concrete things happening,
Lawrence knows all the best words. So.
Rook e d8, the move that fight of b takes a3 and d5.
Okay, so
we go king h1 here, passing move. We take on bishop takes f8, d takes e4, takes e4, but d4 for a little. And interestingly, it looks like maybe with a structure, and he chose a structure.
Amazing.
Amazing
decision for me.
I honestly. I think if you wanted to play c4, wanted to play c4, you were supposed to play AB, and c4, and not
exactly.
That doesn't merge so well with rook ad1, though. You could have done that directly, so it's somewhat strange.
Now, actually, you start to get slightly optimistic if you're Fabi here. There are all kinds of...
Yeah, the bishop comes to b7. The second one, if you're lucky, comes to h6. And,
exactly. You might get some knight d7, knight c5 ideas in the future.
I think he probably goes knight g4 here. Maybe with the inclusion of bishop b1, but honestly, I want to stop bishop board, I feel like. Yeah, he did start with bishop b1, I understand through...
okay, bishop b7.
Yeah, bishop b7, knight g4 wants to proceed. And Fabi does go bishop h6, because that clearly is the best square for that. Should be a priority. We still play something like queen e2, bishop b7, knight g4. But yeah, I don't know if I like what...
Well, at least now knight g4 you're forced. I mean, maybe you had to play knight to hg4 anyway, kind of force a queen e2. That just doesn't...
Well, yeah, but e5, it might not drop a full piece of our confidence. Yeah, still playing very quickly, but at least they... So, yeah, go on.
No, board for a second, so I can bring up, even though it's no more relevant for the standings, we should still have a look at the last Anish MVL game.
Let's do that.
Yeah. It's have to spend all our time here. But yeah.
But he continues with the policy of not playing.
He's maybe someone told him you're allowed to not play the Grunfeld every game, and now he's wondering what he's been doing all his life, being 5 pawns down in the center. This all I'm not sure about queen c3, but this all looks familiar. And so yeah, we'll find out. But the match is decided, so we shall focus on Nepomniachtchi Caruana. That is still stakes is high. This is tight, and if it's a draw, it will.
Yeah, expected knight g4. Knight g4 did happen, and after knight a6, surprisingly to my eyes, he does not play g5. No, g5.
This is maybe an interesting move. He wants to go. Yeah, and wow.
No, the way he's played it, he was forced to take on c5, and I don't know if that would have been true if he started with g5, because he would have had other.
Sveshnikov gone wrong for white.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still 7. I don't know, knight h2, knight g4. It's kind of becoming similar on the king side, because you might be actually strategically worse if you don't.
Hello.
Wow.
We have a visitor.
He's here. Mr. Grishuk, fashionably late, but he is joining us from Moscow. Super Grandmaster Alexander Grishuk. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Strange game, yes, this last one. That Nepomniachtchi was avoiding AB, C4 for many moves.
Incredible for me. I just don't understand
with huge advantage. Or one move earlier, just
Yeah, I think with the rook on a1 it makes even more sense.
Yeah. It's more than +1 also. Very strange.
Yeah, we were also very, very confused about that. We couldn't really figure out what's going on. And now he's probably slightly worse, right?
No, if anything, yes. But he likes this structure. He usually gets it in Sveshnikov. I mean, in somewhat better version. I mean, usually he has bishop on g4 instead of a2.
Yeah, the bishop on a2 is not a pretty sight, actually, is it? Really, I mean.
Yeah, it's a having to make the bishop a1, bishop b1, a2 move must be a bit sad.
And this is.
No, I think he's actually in quite some trouble now.
Serious trouble, yeah.
Because you would like to play something like knight f1, but you can't even do that now because bishop takes g4 wins that pawn. So you're kind of stuck for productive moves, and black will play. I don't know. Black wants to push a5, a4 in some.
Maybe you should play rook f1 and then knight b1. No, but I mean, I'm serious. Why not?
Also, maybe bishop takes g4 a threat immediately? It might be.
What am I?
Well, I mean, if rook f1 as suggested by Sasha, I think we can take on g4 here. in the
I
current
will
position.
take rook d1.
Yeah, bishop somewhere.
Where? But play to
C3.
h6. Please play to h6.
Yeah, okay, I don't. Yeah, queen h4 is a strong move here, but
Yes.
but bishop c3 is still perfectly okay. In fact, maybe black is still better despite all that. Because
he's also played f3. Maybe you had to, but none of these moves are winning any beauty prizes. No, bishop a2,
No.
f3. Ugh.
No, this is yeah.
This is chess, not checkers.
Yeah, if he goes, yeah, but he's still 3 moves away from perfection, right? He needs to go something like knight f1, king h1, rook e2, and
all that. Yeah.
Okay, so
that will be quite something, because that will be how many? 13 pieces? 14 pieces? 13
on a
pieces.
light square. Yeah.
13 pieces is quite a lot. Yeah, it's not that easy to achieve.
No, he's played
12,
g3,
yeah?
ruining all his hard work.
G3.
That's 2 pawns and 1 bishop, 1 knight are gone. So
2 pawns. Yeah, 2 pawns. Yeah, so it's 12. Yeah, 12 is more manageable. Anyway, this is a hobby horse of mine, but no, like I don't think anybody else. That as well, but also by positions with all the pieces on the colors of the same square. I think he is kind of busted now after rook 6, rook a8, because you cannot stop a4, and then things will just start falling off. I think this is just fast enough to get there before white can even manage to stabilize in any way.
This is a very strange game.
I have to say it will be a very remarkable victory by Fabiano if he wins, because he was struggling in every game, basically from start to finish. And yeah, if he manages to win, it will be very remarkable.
Yep. But we were talking about the old football rule of the team that doesn't score despite many opportunities.
Bayern Munich versus Chelsea champions.
Is supposedly ends up losing.
Didier Drogba. Header. 87th minute? Something like that. Pretty much what we're seeing right now.
Well, Fabi hasn't won yet, but he has a huge advantage. Yeah, huge advantage.
Let me update. Apologies.
And they play again amazingly fast. 37.
Incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, the speed of play is
it's
quite
obscene.
remarkable. Yeah, quite remarkable as well. No, but White's position really is kind of about to start bursting at the seams here.
Bit like my shirt, has to be said. Luckily, got the top part.
Is that because all the workout you do at home in Caruana, bursting out of your shirt?
Bursting out, enlarging as we speak.
So is underrated as a...
By whom?
By Peter. He's been talking trash about Fabiano all day long, as he tends to.
Okay, then he is underrated by Peter.
That's... I thought you knew me, but turns out...
This is the most depressing position.
It is.
Basically, the point, for example, Grand Chess Tour, once if he starts playing some basically shit in the openings, and not just some suspect openings, like, for example, Magnus plays this Scandinavian, but he definitely worked on it and so on, but he would just start playing some random stuff he has no clue about, and of course, then his results suffer.
Sorry, why can't you just go, sorry to interrupt, bishop takes c4 doesn't just immediately make white resign, or am I...
But yeah, it should just win. I'm guessing bishop
f1
check doesn't actually win.
Well spotted. That's what I was assuming. I missed that, obviously.
No, I think in Jan's mind, this game is over, and he is just clicking buttons.
But rook take b1. What's wrong with rook take b1?
Rook b1. Yeah, rook b1 just ends the game. Yeah.
Rook b1 here? Just
no.
Bishop c4, rook c3.
Bishop c4, rook c3, rook b1.
Yeah. No, I think Fabi is just rechecking because he also is desperately trying to understand why this move has been played. But yeah, bishop c4 played. And
Sorry. No. Yeah, bishop c4, rook c3 is on the board.
Queen c2 is the idea, apparently.
Queen c2. Okay.
That's a sharp try.
Yeah,
definitely a better try. A better try than what we're discussing. But I guess something like bishop d5 is a cleaner solution.
Hold on, there's a pin.
That's c3. Maybe it's amazing.
c4?
Rook c4.
Rook c4. Yeah, he actually drops a rook because there is no good square.
Yeah,
but rook c4.
It's just over, isn't it?
An incredibly depressing endgame somehow, but yeah, it's not a pleasant position.
Maybe queen c3 now.
Rook b6.
That's not bad at all. Yeah.
I mean,
b6. Yeah, that's
he played bishop c4, and he's going to play your line.
But this should just be the queen e2, queen c5. He will never get out of the corner. Queen f2. Yeah, queen f2. Yeah.
And now maybe white on where you will go with your.
Should 5, I guess.
We can't play.
F4 is stronger than I thought. Yeah.
4 pawns for the bishop, but
no, I should have more, right? I should have. How do you reply to rook c1 here?
Where? After queen a5, f4 rook c1.
One, but yeah,
maybe rook db3, but even rook db3.
You think I can't make any progress? Maybe, yeah, I don't know.
Maybe there was something.
You have to think. Of course, you should win, but
yeah, I think we've. I shouldn't say we. It was my opinion. I think I may have written Jan off slightly early in this game. He's clearly still looking for chances.
In the meantime, Anish is still looking for micro chances in this Catalan, but it does not look like very much. So probably another draw there, no?
Yeah, I don't think you win very many of these. White is obviously, the side pushing, but how many of these you actually win? I think the answer is not very many.
Fair enough. So let's go back to
92 on the board.
Yeah.
We come down.
No, I thought this was allowing. I didn't want to make that move because it allows black to get all of his heavy pieces on the back rank. But maybe there's no mate. Maybe bishop takes d2. He goes rook b takes d2, and after rook c1 he takes on d6 and says, "Show me how you."
And after rook
how you get in.
After rook c1, knight b3, he's forced to go rook g1 check. And is there a way to pick up a loose?
That might be winning, though. That might be a better choice because in the end, there I have queen e1 check and bishop b3.
Bishop b3, yes.
Which might be decisive.
Yeah. No, that's clean.
No, you actually it's not that clear because you go king h2, and after bishop e3 you have rook g2, and if I don't break through immediately, I might not actually win this position at all.
And there's no
h5.
H5, h4, bishop f4.
Yeah, bishop f4. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But rook c1 does feel like it's a lot more concrete because if you trade the bishop for the knight, white does have a very stable setup, and also the pawn on d6 appears to drop off immediately, which is obviously making white's life a lot easier going forward. So I think you kind of badly want to make rook c1 work here.
Fabi still looks extremely focused. Not a lot of movement in the eyes there. Maxime looks extremely bored. Like, why do I have to play on this position?
Yeah, but why do they have to play this game?
To entertain us. You think it should be over?
I mean, there is no entertainment in this. It's just
Well, this particular game, maybe you're right, but
but in general, it's just humiliating the players, especially the one that lost to the match already. It's like in NBA, making the team play 7th game after it lost the series 2-4 already. Totally unreasonable.
But okay, they make the Phoenix Suns show up every season, no? When we know nothing good is going to come out of it.
yeah, I will pretend I understood the context for that joke, but
no, they're just a bad team.
Thank you for
hashtag.
Yes.
She's man bun to look at.
It's almost like it's a target. You want to throw a dart through it or something.
I know you guys have history, but that's a bit strong, no? You can injure people throwing darts.
No. Just through the...
Have you seen, it's somewhat relevant. That was one of the most beautiful stories I've seen in recent times, that obviously due to the coronavirus situation, the World Darts Federation was trying to hold some kind of a home tour where people would play by video call from their homes. I assume all of them have I will mispronounce the word oche horribly. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the players was disqualified from the home tour because his Wi-Fi wasn't strong enough.
Yeah, that as well being
and that's a sad story right there. He was a good player as well.
I think it's Gary Anderson, actually. I think was the guy who was actually former world #1. Yeah, it was Gary Anderson.
Hashtag Sky Broadband.
Okay, this game, he didn't do your thing, but now...
He didn't play h5, h4, which is...
Maybe let's try to analyze our thing. Maybe there are some tactic for white, because this bishop is 3, rook g2, h5, gh, I guess. No, I mean, not now.
Let's have queen f1 here, bishop e3, rook g2, h5.
We go h5, takes.
I mean, gh will be with check. I mean, I guess...
Yeah, let's try maybe just taking on d6 here and somehow not getting mated on the spot.
No,
King f8, I thought probably is slightly safer, question mark. I don't know, it seemed to me like it was extremely strong, but because I just don't see how we consolidate without losing a lot of... Yeah, bishop don't actually pick anything up apart from the pawn on h4, which is not going to be enough on its own.
No, right to win, because like this maybe white have some...
Here?
No, bishop for king f2 and then queen b1.
Some...
Yeah, I think normally it ends up with white losing this piece because he just...
Slightly better on h7, yeah, to avoid check.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I didn't see mated with the king on h7, so I don't know what I was...
One, he put it there.
If knight d2, what do I miss?
No, it's black to move, so...
He played in rook c3. The rook was under attack.
But white h5 now, but it's just much worse version, I think, for black.
But queen e1 is still there.
Queen e1 also... yeah, queen e1 has to be critical, right?
3 or c2.
Yeah, Jan might actually get away with it. In queen d1 to really make it difficult for white. Are you okay trading f6, f3, put d6, yeah? Yeah, maybe you're right, yeah.
And h4 you take and you're not getting mated?
No, I play knight c4, I think.
hg.
King somewhere.
What?
Knight d6.
What? You just want to give me bishop f4, knight f5. This is...
And there is some traps. And bishop take g3, I will even play king g2.
That's cute.
This is very cute. Yeah, this is, and it is actually a draw now. It's a very easy draw for white because obviously
white is not worse. Even.
Yeah, this is something Magnus does not believe in, as is famously known.
We should mention, as you can see on the screen, the MVL match is officially over 3-1 in MVL's favor. Won the first two, then 2 draws. Yeah. Established his superiority there. Very bad, especially second game for Anish Giri, where he was lost out of the opening with the white pieces. Don't see often. And with that being said, back to the action, back to Nepomniachtchi Caruana, where still all to play for. Queen D1 on the board.
But he played Queen D1, and Jan, for some reason, didn't play Knight C4. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the confusing part. Why would you pin yourself with Rook D3 here? That just doesn't seem right. Like on D6 and after H4, maybe he go. That feels like it might just be lost. But that also allows H4. Feels like his position is going to be
Humpty Dumpty.
Exactly.
What is his idea? H4.
H4. I guess he wants to take, but then I think Queen E1 wins. I think with the knight not on F5. I think Queen E move here. Star power of this show has increased.
Fashionably late, but making her daily.
Yeah, H4 played, but he didn't play Queen E1. I guess he doesn't need to, but I thought Queen on the spot. I'm a little bit surprised. Because now he doesn't have an immediate way to return the bishop to good. Really no moves. Maybe Queen E1 there was a cleaner solution.
Why do they play so quickly? He had Rook D4.
No, but this is Jan. He never stops.
And then also I think Rook A3 is more natural than Rook.
With that, yeah, I don't really understand why the Rook is on B3 again. There are many questions.
Move White can make. King is
I think you close your eyes and go.
Because talking about this position.
Because what else are you supposed to do?
check.
Then up.
If Knight C4.
Bishop G5 is a but the big question is, let's say we Bishop G5 we take and we get the king over to E. Is obviously like we probably do lose the knight, which is a bit of a problem. Let's say if it's my move and I play knight E3, it's just a draw, right? Even though black has
Very good chance.
the B1 tempo that separates white, taking a draw here. Bishop G5 played, B7 check.
Sorry.
Maybe, and then you can walk the king.
Exactly. The reason is square. No, I think probably the line I just gave is actually very important here. Just lose more material.
But what? Maybe I can just play Rook B2.
No,
I
GB2.
thought another Rook.
King G2, I mean. F1 should win, right?
Yeah. That's true.
Now he has to play King F2, and Fabi will play D5, and that probably. And I mean, you play. I guess you play. I assume, and knight D6, nothing drops. It's. He played Queen C1.
He missed it. 93 Queen D2. This didn't happen. Yeah.
What exactly? Well, like.
Why exactly?
Incredible.
Why exactly? Yeah, I mean. There has to be a reason. I mean, kind of very unclean, and the rook are not connected. But imagine not winning. I'm very confused by this.
So much time.
It's been a lot of strange blitzing, as Sasha mentioned as well. Yeah.
Going for the old Queen D1 play.
Yeah.
Please. Hasn't got a good square, and you get in D5.
He played Rook B2, but we don't have Rook
Exactly.
B6 check and reply. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, but he plays Queen. I think he plays Rook G2, but then we play Queen E1 and D5.
Queen E1 and D5.
I guess we still correctly estimated that White doesn't get his properly working together in time. One has done now. D5 has E takes D5, and those do it not automatically.
Fabi doesn't go D5. He went pawn.
That's a clever shot.
F4. That's actually knight G7, King D7, and
I'm not sure it's King D7. I mean, there's definitely an argument for at least calculate. It might just win the game. Yeah, he goes king f6. And now knight h5 check is strictly the only move, and you can drop back to e7, but you can also just go king g6 and ask white to make a move. It's just very difficult for white to make a move that doesn't drop material. Discover check, we play king h6, and is a threat because by force. Now he goes f4. But now queen d1 probably is even cleaner. King h6 probably is
like king h6. Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, king h6 is a very clean solution here.
That's just it. Yeah, king h6 is just it.
Looks like it is.
King f5.
Queen c8 check and queen d6 mate. I had the answer ready.
What? You are as sharp as a fox today, Mr. Sudler.
I had the answer ready for that one.
There was so much Schadenfreude in your laugh, Lawrence.
No, it was no Schadenfreude at all. It was just the sharpness is astonishing sometimes.
It is pretty.
So white has to give the pawn, yeah, with knight g3.
Yeah, knight g3, but then you don't even come out of the corner. Yeah, just takes, and
you can probably go d5 there.
Yeah, d5 doesn't look bad, and there are other options as well. Yeah, Jan will be very unhappy with this outcome because
I don't mind. I like Fabi.
He completely dominated the early parts of that match. He goes king f5 played. Okay. Yeah, I don't think Fabi misses mate into his checks.
Queen c8 also played, but no mate on the board, so the game ends after queen c8 check.
I don't know, the board updated actually. So.
Yeah, but that was me. Congratulations to Mr. Caruana, who wins this match 2.5, 1.5. Against not all odds, but I believe most people had Nepomniachtchi as the favorite in Rapid. But Fabi does come through, wins his last game after being under pressure the whole match. And yeah, this last game was a strange game for really mainly this one strategic decision. No, we can argue about the timing of AB and C4, but to go C4 without including AB almost feels like a mouse slip that he forgot.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, that maybe he just assumed he's already taken because it's just so unnatural to give black this counterplay with knight b4, and suddenly, his position just breathes a lot better.
And to explain everything that has just happened, we are being joined by Fabiano Caruana himself. Fabiano, congratulations.
Nice.
So, 10's match, what are your impressions?
Yeah, it was, I definitely should have lost one of the first two games. Especially the second game, I think he didn't even have to go for the end game if he had just continued attacking in some way. I'm sure it was completely done. Yeah, the first game I also feel like I should have been losing, but of course it might not have been as egregious as the second.
Right.
Yeah, we did not see any. Did you see anything clean after queen f4, bishop g6?
Let me see the game again. I don't know, like knight h4 certainly comes to mind.
Yeah, knight h4 does look very attractive here.
I was actually kind of relieved that he went for. The endgame, I assume, is also borderline winning, but at least I don't get mated, and I can. My moves become a lot easier. I become forced to play as knight d3, knight b2, and go to some sort of ending where at least I have some drawing chances. I didn't feel like it was completely over.
Fabi, I'm going to say something controversial as your longtime friend. I've been quite underwhelmed with a lot of the matches, actually, in terms of quality. It feels as though there's a lot of blunders going on from just about everybody. If you look at Anish's match as well, it's been shocking, actually, to see.
I didn't have a chance to look at any of the games there. But I did see the games yesterday, and Magnus's match against Hikaru was of course quite a roller coaster.
Yeah, what do you think? Because you're all obviously the best. What do you think? Do you feel like there's been a real difficulty in adapting to playing slightly longer time controls online, where you're so used to playing blitz, and so because if we look at the times as well, nobody's really in time trouble in these matches at all. It looks as though people are finishing with 8 minutes, 9 minutes. Do you think it's just kind of blitz mode and it's difficult to get out of?
Maybe. I think the quality in general online is much lower than over the board.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even imagine playing a classical game online, for example. I remember during the Fisher Random World Championship playing these 40-minute games. I think it was 40 minutes with the second time control, and it felt like an absolute eternity.
Right.
I want to second that, and I've had that conversation. I expressed that opinion as well.
15 minutes is a pace. I assume all the players were trying to avoid time trouble, because in general, I think the feeling is that once you're in time trouble, you really can't control the situation. Whether you have a good position, if you have a bad position, you're just done. You don't have any chances to really hold without time on your clock. And if you have a good position, even then, you're going to lose control. So that probably explains why players are trying to keep some time on the clock.
There was not a game of chicken between you and Nepomniachtchi, who blinks first and starts thinking.
No, I was playing naturally. I wasn't really thinking about keeping a time edge. And I think I was down on time in the first two games, and in the fourth game I was up time for most of the game. That was my impression.
Yeah, but in particular, that game 4, we were wondering if somehow weirdly you've looked at this exact line, because so many options.
No, I assume that the position was bad for me. Just trying to. I mean, if you start thinking black has so many options, then you're probably not going to make much than 20 seconds. But he played C4.
Well, you'd include AB, and then C4.
D5 at some moment. Either the previous move, maybe here the rook on C8. I was trying to stop this knight D5 or prepare for it. On one of these moves. Here
I made the ridiculous suggestion of G4 2 moves earlier. I don't know if it's
no. I think that's a move that only you would look at, Lawrence.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's
not so. It makes sense. I just didn't really think of the possibility, but it makes perfect sense to clear D5. I'm not sure if the knight coming to D5 is such a tragedy for me, but it's certainly not what I want. I don't way too much to think about. But at least it does potentially lose a pawn. Is not a stupid move at all.
We should dedicate. Any other questions you have to Fabian about G4?
Plus, you won this match. Who'd you play?
I don't know. But after this interview.
So much time promoting this idea. This has been played very professionally, and now you tell us you don't know the pairings.
I know you play game.
I know the round in front of me, but also during classical tournaments, I have no idea who I played besides the upcoming round. I mean, after the game I'm about to play.
But I'm very upset if I'm told ahead of when I want to know, because it ruins my dinner or something. And then you have to start thinking about your next opponent.
I wouldn't really want to know about it. No. I'd rather just focus on the upcoming game.
Then.
No, but now I'm about to play the person, so.
But it's apparently the day after tomorrow, so you still have some time to.
Yeah, this is an interesting format. I even have 2 rest days. Some rest day after every round or every match, whole day ahead of me, because I start playing at 9 o'clock. I wake up at 7, and now I don't know. It's like midday, so it is a funny tournament for me.
Yeah, and I was also going to bring that up at some point. If and when you play, if and when you play.
13, I think. 9 a.m.
That could be, yeah. I don't know really which city he's in.
Yeah, it is.
But I assume that you get up at 7 a.m., you go for a little run, you have breakfast. The US, do you leave your house at all? Do you get stuff delivered? Like, what's your regular day like?
I go shopping. I go back home. I have a balcony, so if I want fresh air, I go to my balcony. I don't really go out, although the city is not really in complete lockdown right now, and people do tend to. I think people are actually jogging more often than before, which is kind of ironic. And but I don't go out too often, no. Just
mainly. Grocery shop, 20-meter walk, right?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I would long line outside the.
Exclusively shopping at Whole Foods?
Yeah, it's I wouldn't go somewhere else. I mean,
You wouldn't dare go somewhere else. I know.
well, I don't know where the other nearest shop, and I'd rather not go too far out of my way.
All right, enough.
That's
Thank
fair.
you. Hang in there and see you these days.
All right, thanks.
I guess MVL, the other winner of the day, on the line. If not, Lawrence, tell us what we have to look forward to tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah, so tomorrow we've got another day of chess, but of course the first half being back, and that means the once said, and Jan will appreciate that. I think even Peter enjoys that. Only Magnus Carlsen, who was, and he's going
Playing
yeah,
before on the internet.
Yeah, this is the of the tournament, of course, and just a few days ago, Banter Blitz Cup for Ali Reza, only 16 years old, out. Let's get revenge, because Magnus doesn't have revenge in quite brutal fashion match. And as we, he's unquestionable, but he's definitely not the finished product. The games into territory. I mean, he's exceptionally very dynamic positions where just managed to keep it a bit, still struggles a bit more. And I think that's something Magnus is going to try and keep.
Yeah, I think that's fair, but all initial point is very, very important. Losing does not like the dynamic of he won their one over the board classical encounter very, very convincing. Their online battles have so far seemingly been, that is something the world champion.
Wait, when did Sasha sneak out of here?
Yeah.
No, I think we stopped. That was it.
Enough is in. Tomorrow is against the struggling, and it looks like today Anish did what he said he wanted, his forehead. Now the Sharks, they will have him marked.
He looked awful today. He was. Yeah, unfairly long tournament, and let's also picking the first. In the Anish has to go in there optimistic. He needs to just. I feel as though I got the impression that he was.
It's just people do have incredibly poor days, and today was an incredibly poor day, and it clearly isn't his standard. If he should 2 orders of magnitude.
So yeah, tomorrow Magnus versus Ali Reza, but Nakamura against Anish Giri. Fan players with many popular chess players with many fans, quite polarizing. Hopefully, Lawrence, what are we plugging?
As a kind of outro, we'll be wrapping up the show shortly, and we're going to have a video for you guys to close the program. Full series, 12 hours plus for Chessable, and you can get 40% off. Go to chessable.com/Sam. Semislav. It's a proper opening, and you can learn the opening with the trademarked Move Trainer technology only on Chessable, part of our, of course, Chess24 family. And Sam is an excellent and distinguished author and theoretician, and you'd be mad actually not to get this 40% off today. And we'll show you guys a nice video as we close the show.
The trademark here to say thank you to everybody who watched the show. This continues to be a very, very exciting event featuring about a minimum of 8 games per day, and tomorrow perhaps the most hyped and faces the 16-year-old Alireza Firouzja. So make sure to tune in for that tomorrow. But for today, once again, we're signing off.
Yeah. Also, thank you to the. We got a lot of feeling from what I've seen today. Things were already much better, and we still have like 2 weeks to go. So we'll keep working on stuff. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for your patience. We'll be back with more action tomorrow.
So do all in your home?
No. It's some kind of a virtual background.
Okay.
Hey Tech, we can get you set up with a green screen, but I thought it didn't fit your persona. I like the lamp like that.
Yeah, but it's a different lamp, I think. Is it?
No, the same.
It's the same lamp. Oh, I missed that lamp. It's too small on my screen to see.
It doesn't work, so it...
It's time to take control. Magnus Carlsen introduces Chessable, the definitive move trainer uses the science of your strengths and eliminates your weaknesses. There's no need to set up a board, remember which page you're on, or keep track of all the moves you miss. Move Trainer empowers you to go from the open and fun way to study chess. From International Master John Bartholomew, International Master Christoph Silecki, Grand Champion Magnus Carlsen, growing community of over 100 at Chessable.com. Your journey towards chess mastery. Time to take